Hello, hello, hello. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm actually running like a minute behind today. A couple minutes came in to the studio, aka just a room we have in the house, and the darn light bulb was out. And I'm dark enough. I don't think y'all want to try to watch me without no light. I don't think it'll work. And it got it's crazy because it got like two light bulbs. So I changed the one light bulb on one side was out. So I changed that one out. And when I turned it on, the other one on the other side was out. So we just got one light bulb. So hopefully I'll still come through. How you doing, Sister Rhonda? Appreciate you being here. I'm running a couple of minutes late. I literally just walked in. I actually had a really busy day at work. And I'm going to have a busy day tomorrow. So I had to get prepared for tomorrow as well as finish up today. And I was just running a little behind. And I usually like to come in and take my shower and get my mind right. But I had to kind of rush in and get started today. So I do apologize for being a couple of minutes late. Let me finish getting set up on everything. And I will be ready to go. Y'all just give me a second. I'm fresh off the presses. And I don't know why here now. Normally Facebook, they'll show me I can see, when I clock into here, I can see, my battery storage, how much battery I got left and my time, and it's not on there anymore. So I have to set up my alarm clock to try to keep pace. That don't necessarily mean that I'm going to be in it quicker, but at least kind of give me an idea where I'm at. But I need to be wrapping it up kind of thing, so. Give me a second to get this clock set. What time is it? Yeah, 7:05. I got 7. All right. So sorry about them. See how much battery I got left. So I'm probably going to hook up my charger just in case some battery start creeping down. Like I said, I can't see it, but the one thing about my phone, it does give me a little notification, hey, your battery about to die. So I'll be able to put it on the charger before it does so. Now, I do apologize, y'all. Normally I'm ready, I'm here and ready to go. Like I said, I got a little busy today. They actually made me do some work to earn my paycheck today. I don't like that mess. I don't know what they kind of tomfoolery is this. They make me actually go to work to do work. All right, I'm ready. So thank you guys for being patient with me. The ones that are here, the ones that ain't got here yet, then you ain't got to worry about it because you didn't have to wait at all. Let me find my place, and we will get started. All right, so while y'all waiting, I'm going to try to get myself together. We're going to be in Judges chapter 19 tonight. If you want to go ahead and turn there in your Bibles, if you're going to be following along. Did I clean my glasses already? I think I did. Judges chapter 19. All right. Now I'm ready. Let me breathe real quick. All right. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Of course, I'm John Stewart on behalf of the Lost Sheep Ministry, on behalf of River Lake, sponsored by River Lake Baptist Church. And I'm here tonight to bring you a very important lesson on what happens in our world and in our lives when God is not king in our life. Of course, this is this is a series I've been going on. It was kind of we're going through the book of Judges, and the first few chapters of Judges, first 16 chapters of Judges, we looked at the judges that was going on, and of course we looked at the vicious cycle that we saw kept happening through those chapters of those first few chapters of Judges, where the Israelites, they were experiencing humbleness, and because they was humble, they were blessed. And they experienced blessings, but because of the blessings, they got apathetic and got away from God. And because of the apathy, they end up in destruction. So the last few chapters, 17 through 21, is 21 chapters in this book. We're going to look at, we're looking at a world without God, basically. This is a world where, of course, y'all know that if y'all been following along, y'all saw the Facebook post earlier. If you following along over the last few weeks, the title of this lesson is When God is Not King. When God is Not King. And then, of course, tonight is part 3. We've already did part 1 and part 2. If you haven't caught part 1 and part 2, please go back and watch it. I'm definitely gonna make some references back to those points that we had during those parts. So you know, I'm trying, because we got 12 points tonight, and I struggle with getting through 10 points without having to rush. And I don't really want to rush this, especially toward the end, because the end is really good. It's kind of the height of the story and the peak of this lesson. So I really don't want to have to rush through it. So I'm gonna try not to re-preach the references. I've noticed I've had a tendency to do that when I come back up on a reference. If I've already preached it, I'm just gonna kind of mention it and maybe point out why I use that reference, but I'm trying to keep going so that way I'll be able to get all my other points in tonight as well. I'm trying to keep this thing in a good time, but y'all know how the spirit goes. So for a real quick review, so far we've had 2 lessons. We've had 20 points. I'm not gonna go back through all 20 other points. Because like I said, if you want to see in other points, go back. But I do always like to go to the lesson before, go back over the points from the lesson before, and just kind of refresh you of those, and then we'll continue on with the points that we have tonight. So last week was we did part 2. We was in chapter 18, and just a real quick read through the points that we had from last week was number 10. We had, which is, like I said, number 10 in the series. Number 10 is you miss out on all the blessings the Lord has in store for you. You know, and we don't realize when God is not king in our lives and we're not living for the Lord, we're not doing what the Lord wants us to do, there's so many blessings that we're missing out on that we don't realize we're missing out on. We think we're gaining by living in the world and doing what we want to do in the world, but we don't realize what we're really missing out on when we don't give our whole heart to God. And God is not king in our life. So that was number 10. Number 11, you have no stability in your home or your life. You know, there's always some kind of turmoil, chaos, or drama that's going on in your life when God is not king. Number 12, you will easily agree to do things that you know you're not supposed to do. That one's going to come up again tonight. So make sure y'all remember that. That's reference number 12. Hey, Nikki. Hey, I'm glad y'all are there. I appreciate y'all being here. I ain't know if y'all gonna make it tonight, so I definitely appreciate it. Y'all really want to be in for tonight. It's a good story tonight. One of those crazy stories. And I'm just going to review right quick before we jump into it. So again, number 12 from last week was you will easily agree to do things that you are not supposed to do. Number 13 from last week, you become apathetic. And remember, I told y'all the definition of apathetic is a lack of interest, enthusiasm, or concern. In other words, you know, when God is not king, you're no longer concerned with the things of God. You're no longer concerned with living the way the Lord wants you to live. You become apathetic. Number 14 from last week, you leave yourself open to attacks. And we kind of talked about how Samson, every time Samson got in trouble, because we just went over Samson, and we talked about just about every single time he got in trouble, something bad happened to him, he was always somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, doing something he wasn't supposed to do. And that's what happened when God is not king in your life, because you're not following God's will. So when you don't do that, you don't have that wall, hedge of protection around you, and you open yourself up to attacks. Number 15 from last week, we lack common sense wisdom. You know, stuff that just should be common sense. We lack the common sense to see, you know, to figure out simple things in our lives, like, you know, which bathroom to go into, if male or female, you know, just common sense thing. We lose that lack of common sense when we don't have God in our life, because the wisdom, common sense is wisdom. And of course, wisdom, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord. So if the Lord is not king, you don't have that fear, you don't have that wisdom. Number 16 from last week, we lack any concept of moral principles. There's no honor, no appreciation, no respect of others or their properties when you don't have God as your king. And that was going to actually come up again tonight as well. So make sure you remember that, reference number 16. Number 17, you will place your faith in the wrong people and the wrong things. And of course, you put your faith in the world and worldly things in the government instead of putting your faith in God. And that's a bad place you want to be. So number 17 from last week, you will place your faith in wrong people and the wrong things. Number 18, you will become fools who only know violence as a means to settle their disputes. So again, you know, said when we read Proverbs 29:11, And it says a fool always loses his temper, but a wise man holds it back. And that's what happens when you don't have God. You know, you become a fool, and you're so quick to anger. You're so quick to fight. Somebody look at you the wrong way. You're ready to go fisticuffs. And that's what happens when you don't have God in your life. You become very foolish. Number 19 from last week, you will misuse the name of God for your own personal benefit. You know, and we talked about, you know, how many wars have been waged, how many people have done terrible things all in the name of God, because God wasn't really their king in their life. They was doing what they wanted to, and they used God, the name of the Lord, to give in to those evil desires. And that happens a lot, still happens to this day. You know, a lot of it happens a lot in churches and things of that nature. So that was number 19. And the number 20 from last week, and again, this is just a review. That's why I'm just going through these quickly, so y'all kind of have them in your mind. Number 20 from last week, you will walk a path that ultimately leads to your destruction. If God is not king of your life, you will walk a path that will ultimately lead to your destruction. And again, that one's going to actually come up again tonight as well. So again, that was just a quick review. And the reason why I'm rushing, I am trying to calm down. Like I said, I literally just walked to the door like at 7 o'clock. So I'm trying to get myself calmed down as well. Hopefully this prayer get me calmed down so I can really bring this lesson tonight, because I don't want to rush through it. But I do want to make sure I get all these points in tonight. And like I said, I really hope y'all will stay in to the end of the lesson, the end of the chapter, because there's some crazy stuff happens at the end of this chapter. And you're going to be like, what is going on here? So make sure y'all hope y'all are ready to tune in. I'm going to try to not to belabor it too long, but I do want to bring the message as the Spirit gives to me. So I'm going to go ahead and pray so we can jump into it. Dear Lord Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us this day. Thank you for every morning I leave the house, I always pray for a good, safe, productive day. And you definitely answered that prayer today. Had a really busy day, and I almost missed my opportunity to get here and do your word, but I got here just in the nick of time, a couple of minutes late, but just in the nick of time, Lord. So now I'm asking you to just watch over me. I usually have a little bit more time to calm myself and prepare to do this lesson, but I pray that you let your Spirit come over me and give me a calming spirit, and just touch my heart. Let your Spirit rest in my heart, Lord, so I can bring out this truth. Because I think this chapter is kind of the pinnacle of these lessons that we're going to go over for the next few weeks. We got 2 more after this one, and I think this one is a pinnacle. It really gives us an inside view of the world without you, which is what this world is going to. You know, this country and this world is really gravitating toward having a world where you're no longer king. And because of that these kind of things that's going to happen in this chapter tonight is going to happen in our world, and it is happening in our world every day. So I just pray that you be with us, send your Spirit down upon our hearts, give me the wisdom and the guidance I need to bring out these truths in this word that you're going to be presented here today. And I pray you give the people that's listening, let your Spirit work on their hearts and mind, so if they see some things going on in their lives, and they really, and that they will come under conviction and realize that you're not king in their lives, and they'll start gravitating toward making you a king instead of gravitating more toward making the world their king and what they give their all into. So I just ask you to be with us tonight as you always are. Let your Spirit take over. Let me get out the way and let your Spirit take over, so we can have a good lesson tonight, and we may all leave this session better Christians than we were than when this lesson started. So I thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your word. And I say this prayer in your wonderful Son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. So I'm getting a drink of this H2O, and we're going to jump into this. And again, I've been scatterbrained since I was kind of running behind, but I hope everybody had a wonderful Resurrection Sunday yesterday. I know you say Easter and it's no big deal. Don't try to be super spiritual, but I try to say resurrection because that's really what it is. It's Resurrection Sunday. So I hope y'all had a good Resurrection Sunday. I did. I ate way too much. I felt it today, and I was so disappointed in myself. Not really, but I was, because I did enjoy the food, but I enjoyed it way too much yesterday. We had some goodies at church, and then I went to my son's house, and they had all kind of goodies, and then it was just a goodie day, and I didn't need to have. I used supposed to have one bad meal, but I had like 3 of them yesterday. Then I'm definitely feeling it today. I didn't even want to get up this morning. So, but I hope you all had a good, safe resurrection, and remember the reason why we celebrate it, because he is risen, and we are saved and have our victory over death because of it. So now let's jump over in Judges chapter 19. If you got your Bibles open, of course, I'm going to be reading out the New Living Translation for my Lost Sheep ministry, but I am a King James believer. I believe if you really want to get the true word and you really want to understand what the word is saying, what God is purveying to us, that you want to make sure you read the King James Version. But I do like to read the New Living New Living Translation version, because it just breaks it down a lot easier, and I don't have to explain everything that's being said, and I want to make sure my people get it. So we're going to start in chapter 19, like I said. Now, we go through this chapter. Like I said, I hope y'all make it to the end, because I'm trying to make it sure, but all these videos so far have been going like running right at 2 hours, so I apologize, but it's just so much stuff in here. And I want to break them down, but it's like each chapter is like kind of like own thing, so I want to make sure I at least get through the whole chapter. So I'm going to do my best not to prolong stuff. But it's some crazy stuff that's going to happen in the chapter. And as we going through it, you know what I'm saying, most of the people on here are Christian people. I don't know if anybody on here, especially the ones that I can see. I can only see 3 of y'all, and I don't know if anybody else is on there or not. But as Christian people, as people that have at least some kind of sense of morals, when you see what happens in this chapter tonight, you're going to be like, man, how can this even happen? Like, how is this even possible that they even remotely think that what they're doing is okay? You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. That's why, matter of fact, the first line said, now in those days, Israel has had no king. And now, if y'all notice in these 3 chapters we've been going through, each chapter is mentioned at least once. Because you got to, like I said, in your mind, like, how can this even happen? How can they even think that this is okay? And it's because in those days, and it's like the Bible's giving you this warning, like, hey, this story's about to be a little crazy, but I'm gonna let you know this ain't me. This is because they don't want me there. That's kind of like God, like, hey, no, and I'm gonna let you know now. In those days, Israel had no king. Matter of fact, that's the very first line in 19 verse 1. Now it said, now in those days, Israel had no king. So it's almost like a little warning, like, all right, this is what you're finna read is a little crazy, but you got to remember, they didn't have no king. In other words, you got to remember, they wasn't worshiping me. They wasn't they took me off the throne, and they wasn't doing the things that I had commanded them to do. So that's why, as you read this little chapter, it's going to be a little crazy. You know what I'm saying? But that's why it's so crazy. And when you look at our world, when you look at what's going on in our world, when you look at the fact that there's over 3,000 children killed every day, you know, by abortions, you know what I'm saying? And it's not a big deal. We don't even bat an eye at it. When you look at all the kind of the filth and the nastiness that's on TV, there's matter of fact, the filth and the nastiness they feed to our kids, and you wonder, like, how can this be going on? And it's like, God, like, now in those days, Israel had no king. These are the type of things that happen when God is not on the throne. That's why I entitled this lesson, When God is Not King. So as we go through this and we see the insane things that's going to happen in this chapter, and you wonder, like, how can this happen? This is basically a world without God. This is a snapshot of what the world looks like without God, the kind of thing, the way that people are going to behave, the kind of things people will do when God is not on the throne. And that's why it's so vital for us to get back to the Lord. That's one thing I pray for all the time. Lord, let us have a revival of some sort and send your spirit upon the hearts of everybody so we can get back to you. Because if not, these are the kind of things that are going to be going on. And we're going to see what's going on here tonight. So we're going to start off in chapter 19. Like I said, you got your Bibles, Judges chapter 19, verse 1. And it says, now in those days, Israel had no king. So again, it's just a warning, like, all right, you finna read something crazy, but this is what's happening when we don't have God involved in our lives. And of course, there's a reference back to number 6. That was our one of our very first points in the main lesson. And the reason why he's saying that is because it's a reference back to number 6, which was, we make our own standards according to the wickedness in our hearts. So again, when you see the things that goes on in our world, when you see the stuff that should be just common sense, not to do this, not to do that, you should do this, do that, and people's not doing it, or they doing stuff they know they're not supposed to be doing, and you're like, how can they be so ignorant to the fact they're doing that? Is because we have no king. We have taken God. Now, God is still on the throne, don't get me wrong, but we have taken God off the throne in our lives, in our hearts, in our country, in the lives of our kids, and out of our schools. We've taken God away from our most precious resources, which are our children and the youth of our nation. And that's why our nation is in the predicament that it is right now. And that's why God, like I said, when we read the story, that's why I thought it was funny that the very first line, because this is a crazy story. well, it ain't crazy, and you might have even heard something happening, but just the violence and the negativity that's going to go on in the story is why it's like, now in those days Israel had no king. So it starts off, he says, so now in those days Israel had no king. And he said, there was a man from the tribe of Levi living in a remote area of the hill country of Ephraim. And that's going to give me my very first point right there, which is going to be 21 in the series. And you notice that there was a man from the tribe of Levi. Now, he's from Levi, so therefore he was supposed to be living wherever the temple is at, because he's a tribe of Levi, so he's a Levite. So he was supposed to be one of the people that was serving in the temple. So he should be living wherever and I'm not exactly sure. I didn't do the research because I didn't think about it. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's in Shiloh right now. The Ark of the Lord is in Shiloh right now. And that's what his Levite should be at. But notice it says he stayed in a remote area of the hill country of Ephraim. So he wasn't even where he was supposed to be at, because he was somewhere else. And there's a reason behind it. Because it said in those days God had no king. So things were pretty bad. So number 21 is this. When we in a situation like we in now, when God has no king, when God is not on the throne, when God is not king, number 21 is the only way to stay safe is to separate from the world. And that's what this Levite did. He was a man of God. And we're going to see that as we get in. Y'all going to see it. There's going to be some evidence to support this point. But it's not going to come till a little bit later. But I go ahead and tell you, he was a man of God. He was a Levite. He wasn't where he was supposed to be as far as where he was supposed to be serving. But it was a reason for it, because everything had gotten so bad. Everywhere he went was so bad that he was like, man, I'm just going to go somewhere in a remote area where I don't have to be around people. And that's what happened. When you don't have God, you don't want to be, you can't trust people. You know what I'm saying? I thank God all the time that I stay in this. I ain't gonna lie. When I first moved here, and y'all have heard me say this before, when I first moved here, I was scared to death. Being in this little small town, ain't nothing around, you know what I'm saying? Just land and animals and critters everywhere. You know what I'm saying? You got little neighborhoods here and there, but for the most part, everything is all spread out, you know? And I used to be so afraid of that, but now I'm so thankful for it, because I don't have to be around people. Because now when I go in the city, I'm just like, ugh. Like, oh, it's like, it ain't disgusting, but it's just like, ugh. It's just so many people everywhere, and people messing each other over, and somebody trying to scam you. You got to keep your head on the swivel, and you got to watch what you're doing. You got to watch where you're going. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about that when you don't stay around people. You know what I'm saying? I don't see a lot of people. I don't have to worry about what my neighbor. I mean, I have neighbors, but we all got like nice pieces of land. My neighbor, it takes me, like, if I was just walking to my neighbor, it'd take me about 4 or 5 minutes just to get to the end of my driveway to get to my neighbor's house. You know what I'm saying? That's how far away we are. You know, so it's a good thing to separate, so I don't have to worry about that worldly influence. I don't have to worry about that on my kids. Now, of course, with the internet and, you know what I'm saying, phones and all that, the world can still influence your kids, even if you stay a minute lower. You got the internet, you can still have an influence, but at the same time, the people that they're around every day, it's just a different vibe where we at. You know what I'm saying? The people they're around every day. We got people that still believe in this area, they still believe in home training. You know what I'm saying? They still believe in God. They believe in going to church. They believe in talking about God. They believe in praying. You know, the teachers themselves, you know, they talk, maybe bring up the Bible and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? They still believe in doing that, and they're able to do so because we're in this small area away from everybody. But it's some stuff that I know that we do, and not only that, it's like the relationship with the kids is personal. You know what I'm saying? They take a personal interest in your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like if your kids is doing something or not doing something and they're concerned about it, you will know. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you get in those big schools and those big public schools, city schools, you know what I'm saying? Your kid might be messing up. You won't know until you go, the end of the semester, middle semester, when you go in for a parent-teacher conference. It's not like that here. You can just be at Walmart and run into the teacher. And they be like, oh, hey, such and such. I remember when we first moved up here, I told my boys, it was funny story talking about that. I told my boys, look, my boy, they was right in teenage years. So, you know how them teenagers are. I said, look, y'all got to be careful what you do up here. I I ain't gonna lie, where we at, we one of the only, on 2 or 3 black families in the city, the little city that we live in, New Johnsonville. So I'm like, so you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. They going to know who your kid is, not to mention that I was a chemist here. So I'm like, so they going to know who you are. So if you do something, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm going to find out about it. I'm going to find out about it. And I remember this one day, one of my oldest son, he had cut school and he went to a gas station, and he, you know what I'm saying, it was during the middle of the day when he should have been at school. So I get a call, and it just happened to be one of my church members, like, hey, you know, your son Jason is over here at blah, 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 blah store or whatever. And like, no, I didn't know that. Like, no, he in his school. You know, I was like, no, he's supposed to be at school. I was like, appreciate you for calling me. So he got home, and I was at the house. Like, so how was your day? You know, he found like, so what all did you do? And he knew that obviously that I knew something was up, because it wasn't a question I normally ask. And he started, well, I like, you wasn't in school like you supposed to, you know, and he ended up getting grounded by it. I mean, before he even got home, I already knew. You know what I'm saying? Because people, and it's not about being nosy and snitching. They just like, hey, you know, he down here, and the people, the kids that he was with was some people that was known for having bad reputation. So they were just kind of like, man, hey, let you know, these are some good kids he's hanging with, and I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be in school. He's not. So I'm just giving you a heads up kind of thing. So, you know what I'm saying? They had that personal touch, you know what I'm saying? Because there's not a lot of people here. So they had that personal interest, not to be snitching or anything like that, because they was actually concerned. Like, this was a church member. Like, I want to make sure, because this was like the first year we was up here. So like, I want to make sure y'all don't get, you know, caught in with the wrong crowd kind of thing. So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thankful for that. And back in the day, I'm telling you, it ain't nowhere in the world back in the day I can stay in this town, because I was doing stuff I didn't want people to know I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't stay in this town like stay in a big city, because I can get away with my dirt and I ain't have to worry about running across somebody that I knew. But here, man, no matter where you at, you're going to run across, you can possibly run across somebody you know at any given time. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, what reason why I like this is kind of, it's not really remote, but it do take some getting to. Like if you're going to come visit me, you're going to have to drive, especially if you're coming from one of the big cities. And you know what I'm saying? And therefore, a lot of people don't, like, even my brother, sometimes he don't even come, like, man, I'm not making that big old drive. Good, I ain't got to worry about you. You know what I'm saying? Not that I don't love my brother or whatnot, but I'm just saying, people don't mess with me as much because it takes a little bit to get to me. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I know if they put forth effort to come visit me, then whatever they visit me for must be pretty serious. You know what I'm saying? Because it takes some getting to get here. And that's kind of what you have to do. You have to separate. And that's what this Levi, he was a man of God. So he kind of separated from his tribe and everybody else, and he had his own little thing, because he didn't want to get caught up in the corruption that he saw going on around him. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he stayed in that remote area. And that's what happened when God is not king. It makes you not even want to be around people. And that's because y'all know me. All of y'all know me. I'm a people person. I love people. I love talking to people. I love hanging around with people. I love meeting new people. I love talking about God with people. I mean, I just love, that's why I love soul winning, because not only am I doing God's work, it's something I just love to do anyway. You never know who you're going to meet kind of thing. So I love people, but it's to a point where you can't even trust people anymore. You can't be around people because things are getting so bad. You know what I'm saying? Things get so bad, you never know what people's true intentions are. You never know what kind of people they really are these days, because nobody has any morals. Nobody has any, respect for each other. Like I said, number 16, there's no moral principles anymore. Nobody has any honor anymore. There's not even honor among thieves anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's real hard to be around people and trust people because of what this world has come to, because we've gotten away from God. People are not trustworthy. And because people are not trustworthy, we tend, the only way to be saved is to just move away from people, get from around people. You know what I'm saying? Interact when you have to, but if you don't have to, man, just stay and mind your own business and you'll be safe for all. And that's what this Levite was doing. You know what I'm saying? That was what Levite was doing, because the world around him had got so bad and so corrupt that he wanted no parts of it. And that's what you have to do. You have to get away from the world. This world is corrupt. You know what I'm saying? And you really have to get away. And the sad thing about it, even if you move away from it, like I said, if you still got the internet and social media and all that, you're still right there in the midst of it. So sometimes you have to separate yourself from that as well. That's why the only time I'm on Facebook is when I'm preaching or if I'm on the toilet. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell y'all this. If y'all ever on Facebook, y'all see me on Facebook liking something or just like, oh, he's acting right now, then most likely I'm on the crapper. That's the only time I go on Facebook, and it's just to check to see if anybody has mentioned me or said something to me or sent me a message or something. I don't spend a lot of time on social media, and I really won't, because my family like, you need to get a Snapchat and an Instagram, and I really want to get that stuff, but I don't have the time for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the time for it, and I know you got to put a certain amount of time to get your followers and all that stuff, and I don't have the energy. I got my Facebook, and somebody want to find me, they just come find me on here. And I know most young people don't use it no more, and I'm old-fashioned like that, but oh well. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to separate yourself from that stuff, because the more you're involved and the more you get into it, the more it has the ability to corrupt you. So that's what this Levite did. He separated himself from all his people, and he had this remote little area that he stayed in so he can stay, you know what I'm saying, kind of keep somewhat of some kind of moral character that keep going so he can keep serving the Lord the way he's supposed to. So he says, he lived in a remote area of the hill country of Ephraim. So one day he brought home a woman from Bethlehem in Judah to be his concubine, but she was unfaithful to him and returned to her father's home in Bethlehem. So that's going to take us to point number 22. Number 22 is this. There is no true concept when God is not king. When God is not king, and like I said, in the world or in your life, definitely your life, there is no true concept of love or faithfulness. Now, you catch that again. When God is not king, there is no true concept of love or faithfulness. You can't say that you truly love somebody if you don't love the Lord. It's not possible. If you don't know the Lord, you don't know love, because God is love. That's what we got to understand. God is love. And I never understood that. I think I told y'all this before, and I might have mentioned this before. I used to hate myself. I used to hate myself. I hated the way I looked. I hated the way, how dark I was. I hated how hood I was, where I was from, how poor I was. I used to hate everything about me. My big lips, my big nose, my bald head. I hated everything about me at one point in my life because I didn't really know the Lord. You know what I'm saying? And since I didn't know the Lord, I didn't know love. And because I didn't know love, I didn't even know how to love myself. That's why we have so many relationship problems. That's why we have so many. Why do you think? Matter of fact, I wrote this statistic down because I looked it up. You know what I'm saying? Because I said the point is there is no true concept of love or faithfulness. Check this out. So I looked it up. I Googled what is the divorce rate in the United States of America. And guess what this says? In the United States, about 50% of married couples divorce. So half of the people, at least half of the people, it's probably more than that, they said about 50, but half of the people that get married get divorced. Why? Because there's no true concept of love or faithfulness. So it says in the United States, about 50% of married couples divorce. The sixth highest divorce rate in the world. And this is supposed to be a Christian country. Then it says subsequent marriages, subsequent marriages have an even higher divorce rate in the world. Subsequent marriages have an even higher divorce rate. 60% of second marriages end in divorce, and 73% of all third marriages end in divorce. Why? If you've been married 1 or 2 times, that tells me what? You have no concept of true love or faithfulness. You cannot know love. You cannot love another person if you don't love the Lord. It's not possible. It's not possible. I counsel people all the time, and I always tell them, and this is a concept, I don't know if my preacher shared it with me or somebody just heard somewhere. I heard it from a preacher. I don't know if it's my preacher or it's just another preacher that I listen to. But, but it's a concept I use all the time. Y'all know I've done weddings before. I did the wedding ceremonies for several friends over the years. And a couple of them I've done like marriage counseling before the wedding, because it takes like $50 off the marriage license or whatever. And the one thing I told them, like, when you enter a true relationship is 3 people involved. It's not just you and the woman. It's you and the woman and God, or you and the man and God. You know what I'm saying? And like the only way that you're going to have a successful relationship, the only way you're going to have a successful marriage is if you both work on your relationship with God. That should be your priority. We always want to make, I want to make sure my wife, me pleasing my wife is a priority. Or my wife want to make sure pleasing me is a priority. When in reality, it should be us both want to please God. Because the way you look at it is like a triangle. You put it like a triangle. And you see, you got 3, triangle, you got the angle here, you got the point here, you got a point here, you got a point here. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing a little triangle. And see, if the man is here and the woman is here and God is here, if God is at the top, if he's the priority of the relationship, guess what? The closer you get to God, the closer you get to each other as well. Because you see, the man start here, the woman start here, and the more you go up getting closer to God, guess what? Eventually you get to that top point, and it's perfect. It's just like the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. All 3 of y'all have to be one. So the way to have a lasting relationship, the way to have a faithful relationship is by you getting closer to God. That is the key. Because you're not going to be and another thing, like when I have people that's single or looking to get into a relationship, they ask me advice. What should I look for? And I always tell them, look at their God relationship with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Look at how they treat the Lord. Are they faithful in their relationship with the Lord? Do they have a good relationship with the Lord? Because if you don't have a relationship with the one that is the reason for you being, is the one that's giving you everything, the reason why you woke up this morning, the reason why you have breath in your lungs, the reason why you're able to do anything. If you don't have a good relationship with God, then you definitely not going to be able to have a good relationship with another person, because God is your everything, and this person may be just giving you something. You know what I'm saying? He might be whether it's just you fickle with him, maybe it's a lustful thing, maybe you like the conversation, whatever. It's something that this person has that made you attracted to him. But with God is everything. So if people don't have a close relationship with God and really love God, there's no way possible they can really love you, because they don't truly know what love is. I didn't learn to love myself until I learned to love the Lord. And the closer I got to the Lord, the more I love the Lord, the more I start to love myself. And now I think I'm perfect. Not perfect in like I never make mistakes and you know what I'm saying, I'm just a super awesome guy, which I am. But I'm perfect when I look at it, because I know no matter what how the world view me, if the world the world of women say I'm ugly or too black or whatever, God thinks I'm perfect because he made me the way he wanted me to look out of the love in his heart. You know what I'm saying? So I got to love myself because I learned to love myself because I love the Lord. And I know no matter how I felt about myself, the Lord views me as perfect because I look the way he wanted me to look. And so you don't understand that if you don't really have a close relationship with the Lord. So see, if you don't love God, so that's why I say if you get ready to get in a relationship with somebody, seriously, that's what. And it's so funny because I'll be the first one to admit I didn't think of that when I first got in a relationship with my girl. Actually, I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be 100% with y'all. When I got in a relationship with who's now my wife, I was thinking about one thing, and it wasn't a good thing. You know what I'm saying? I was just thinking about hooking up. That was it. I didn't care who she worshipped or if she was saved or anything like that. I should have been. And I thank God that he actually put me with somebody that was a spiritual person and that was saved and did have a relationship with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? It just worked out that way. But that wasn't my concern when we first got together. You know what I'm saying? So when you first get together, what up, Jihad, man? I miss you too, brother. I miss you too. I was actually talking about working at Taco Bell today. I appreciate you being in here. But again, man, if you don't have that close relationship with God, you got to look at that. Because like I said, you know, and I'm not just saying just look and see, if they go to church. Because there's plenty of people that go to church all the time that are not truly godly people, don't have a close relationship with the Lord. They just go just to go. There's people that read their Bible all the time just so they can say they read their Bible. There's people that pray all the time just say they pray. I'm talking about this somebody that you can tell they're truly trying to serve the Lord. They're truly trying to have a close relationship with the Lord. You know what I'm saying? They every single day. It's not, I'm having a bad day, I'm not with the Lord today. You can tell if somebody's truly having a relationship with the Lord or not, because they're going to treat God the same way they do on their good days, on their bad days. You know what I'm saying? I don't have bad days and, I had a bad day, so I'm not going to read my Bible today. I had a bad day, I'm not going to pray today. I had a bad day, so I'm not going to tell people about the Lord today. I don't do that. It's three things I've told y'all heard me say a million times, and again, it's not bragging, but it's just the truth. Something I do every day. I read my Bible every day. I pray every day. And I look for opportunity to tell people about the Lord every day. I don't care how good my day has been. I don't care how horrible my day has been. I don't care what's going on in my life. I'm going to do those three things because I work on my relationship with the Lord. You see what I'm saying? So you got to look and see, are they true? Are they just, trying to keep up a facade, or are they truly trying to have a close relationship with the Lord? And if they do, then you know that they truly do know love, and that's somebody that you might be able to build a future with. You know what I'm saying? I remember this one young couple, guy I met him, so funny, crazy, but just real story because I don't want to belabor you. But I met him at the jail. He was a guard when I was going into the jails doing a jail ministry. And I met him at the jail. And it turned out he wasn't sure about his salvation, so I came by his house one day and got to talk to him about, we set up some time to come by. Just so happened, the girl that was with him, which was just his girlfriend at the time, she was there. So she wasn't 100%, she said she had got saved, but she wasn't 100% sure. But she's like, you know what, I want to listen anyway, kind of thing. So I sat there, went over the plan of salvation with the both of them. And by the time I got through going through plan of salvation, they said, they both said they want to accept the Lord as Savior. So, of course, praise God. So, so we go through, I go through the sinner's prayers with them. And then afterwards, I just jokingly like, well, man, I like, y'all just made the most important decision that you ever make in your life by accepting the Lord Jesus Christ into your life. I said, you making a decision this big. I don't see how y'all haven't made the decision to get married just yet. Just said it jokingly. And I returned, I guess that sparked planting a seed was planted, and they end up getting engaged like a few weeks after that. And now I think they've been married maybe 2 or 3 years. Wonderful couple, love them to death. You know what I'm saying? So again, they put God first, and they both good godly people, go to church, read the Bible and things of that nature. And they've been growing together in their relationship with God, which also has grown them together as a couple as well. So God is love. You know what I'm saying? God is faithful. Look how faithful God is to us. So if you don't know God, you're not going to know how to be faithful, and you're not going to know what true love is. And we see that happen. Again, what the first line said, and now in those days, Israel had no king. So he went and married this woman, and what the first thing she did, she was unfaithful. In other words, she, if you read the King James version, it said, and his concubine played the whore against him. So in other words, she was hooking up with other dudes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when the Bible say playing the whore, they talking about adultery. Worshiping idols instead of God. But in this situation, she was out there. She belonged to the streets, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So, and she, got out there and was running around them streets, and eventually left her husband. Why? Because there was no king. God was not king. So she didn't know what it was to be. She didn't know how to love her husband like she was supposed to, and she didn't know how to be faithful. So that's why she ended up, and it's going to put her in a bad situation. As a matter of fact, she's going to be kind of the highlight of the story. So again, there is no true concept of love or faithfulness if you don't love the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know, matter of fact, y'all probably saw my post. I'm finished with this because I don't want to stay too long, but this is just a very important point. This is something I want y'all to understand. Y'all know me and my wife just celebrated 18 years of marriage, last month, actually not last month, last week, April 9th, man, I'm forgetting. But April 9th, we celebrated 18 years of marriage, and we've been together for over 20. We've been together. We started dating, or got together, whatever you want to call it, in August of 2000. So this August, we would have been together for basically 22 years, been married for 18 years. You know what I'm saying? And, and I saw somebody just give hearts, and people all like, oh, I love y'all relationship. And I had one of my friends like, man, y'all relationship was gold. But you got to understand, it is work. And you know what I'm saying? It ain't like, you know what I'm saying? I've been faithful to my wife. I haven't been outside my marriage, haven't been with nobody other than her. But it ain't that I ain't thought about it. I don't want y'all to sit here and think, oh, I'm some loving boy, some Casanova. It ain't that I haven't thought about it. It ain't that I haven't even flirted with the idea. I actually got in a couple of situations where I had to get God to get me out, because like the situation I was in, it was going in the wrong direction. And if God didn't get me out of it, I might have did something I wasn't supposed to. You know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't that I haven't thought about it, but the reason why I'm able to stay faithful, because I'm not staying faithful to my wife, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm just staying faithful to my wife, I just think, oh, well, that's my wife. You know what I'm saying? She can get over, blah, blah, blah. But I'm staying faithful to the Lord, because I know that if I cheat on her, I don't just cheat on her. I cheat on God. I cheat on my family. I cheat on my church. I cheat on all our friends that we've accumulated together over these years. I cheat on everybody. It's not just her. You know what I'm saying? But more importantly, I cheat on God. And that's something I definitely don't want to do, because I know the blessings. If y'all remember when David had that affair with Bathsheba and killed Uriah the Hittite, when God got on him, what did he say? He wasn't upset that he got caught. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't upset he got caught. What did he say? He said, Lord, I feel bad about this. I know it's you and only you that I have sinned against. You know what I'm saying? He said, that's the biggest offense of everything I've done, is because I cheated on all of my wives, and, you know what I'm saying, I cheated with this lady who cheated on her husband. He said, but the worst part of all that I done was that I cheated on you. He said, that's the worst part of it. You know what I'm saying? So again, me staying faithful to God and the word that God has for me to do is what has helped me stay faithful to my wife. Because the temptations are there. You know what I'm saying? Especially when somebody that pretty much got your stuff together and you have a purpose in your life, women are attracted to that. You know what I'm saying? So you have to really be focused on doing God's work and having a close relationship with God to be able to resist those temptations. Because I love the Lord. I'm a preacher, but I'm still a man. You know what I'm saying? When he talked to Moses, he said, man of God. And you know, the first word in that statement is man. So I'm still a man, so I'm still susceptible to the same thing that everybody else is. But what gives me strength to fight it, what gives me the strength to resist it, is that I want to stay faithful to the Lord. I want to know what the Lord has in store for me. I want to do everything that God has planned for me to do. I want to do everything that God has given me the power to do. And I know I can't do those things if I do something as insidious as cheat on my wife. You know what I'm saying? So not that I don't want to be faithful to her. Don't get me wrong. Tell Red, like, he only favor you because of God. It's kind of true, but it's not that I want to be faithful on her. But I'm just saying, being faithful to her. But it is the fact that I am faithful to her because I'm faithful to the Lord. So that's why I say, unless you have a close relationship with the Lord, you have no concept of faithfulness. If you don't have a close relationship with the Lord, you have no real concept of love. You don't really love people. You know what I'm saying? You lust after them, maybe. You maybe adore them or something like that, but you don't truly love people if you don't truly love God. It's not possible because you don't know love, because you don't have the love of the Lord in your heart. So that's number 22. And the reason why I want to spend a little bit of time on that, because that's a very important concept, and I want to make sure y'all get that. There is no true concept of love or faithfulness if you don't have a close relationship with the Lord. And that's what happened to this young lady. She didn't have no concept of love, so the husband, the guy went and got her, and the first thing she did, she cheated on him and went back to live with her dad. So then it says, in this verse, it says, so after about 4 months, her husband took a servant and an extra donkey to Bethlehem to persuade her to come back. So that's going to take us to point number 23. Number 23 is this. People, when God is not king, people have to persuade you to do things that you know that you are already supposed to be doing. Let me hit you with that again. When God is not king, people have to persuade you to do things. No, I'm sorry. People, I wrote that wrong. I said it wrong. People have to, when God is not king, people have to be persuaded to do things they know they are already supposed to be doing. What am I saying there? This lady, she knows she's got married. You know what I'm saying? She had to, for them to be married, she had to, say yes or whatever. You can't just, tie her up and take her to the altar and force her to marry you. You know what I'm saying? So she had to say that. So she knew she was supposed to be faithful to her husband, and she knew, she was supposed to love her husband, but yet he had to go persuade. She was unfaithful to him, and she left him. You know what I'm saying? So he had to go persuade her to come back to where she was supposed to be in the first place. And that's what's supposed to happen. You know what I'm saying? Why you think churches always having these big days? Oh, bring it. I remember my one church, and it works. It get people in there. I remember the church that I came from in Murfreesboro, Middle Tennessee. Every year they have this day. It's called Friend Day. Where you bring your friends, they kind of have a lunch and stuff set up, and they have all kind of bouncy things to attract people to come in. Why are they doing it? Because they persuading them. You know what I'm saying? Why is it when we run the buses, when churches that have bus ministries and they go pick up kids, they always giving out goodie bags. They got to give the kids goodie bag. Why? Because they try to persuade the kids to come to church. You shouldn't have to do that. If God was, you shouldn't have to be persuaded to do the things that God has called you to do. You shouldn't have to be persuaded to get your butt up and go to church every Sunday. I can't tell you how many people, y'all heard me say this before, when I'm knocking on doors and I'm talking to people and they don't go to church, and I hear it all the time. Well, I know I should be going, but I don't. Why? Because God is not king in their lives. You know what I'm saying? So I got to sit there and try to persuade them that they need to get back in church so they can have this close relationship with God. I shouldn't have to do that. If this was really a one nation under God, true nation of God, we wouldn't have to persuade people to go to church. I shouldn't have to persuade people to watch these videos so they can get this truth that I'm giving out. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. And you say, how else they gonna get people to go to church? That's the problem, Pat. They shouldn't have to try to get people to go to church. That's my whole point. We shouldn't have to persuade people. God has given us everything. That's what you gotta understand. You know what I'm saying? God has given us everything. If you woke up, if you up right now, and your eyes, even if you in a crippled state, you still got breath in your lung, that's because of the Lord. The fact that you have a life is because of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? The fact that if you got a job, that's because of the Lord. You got food in your stomach, that's because of the Lord. If you got a roof over your head, that's because of the Lord. So why, if he's giving you all this, he still got to persuade you to come to church and spend some time with him? You still got to be persuaded to get into your Bible and read it. You still have to be persuaded to go pray and pray and talk to the Lord every day. You know, I talked about my pastor, he talks about it all the time, something that he does with the teenagers to try to persuade the teenagers to read their Bible. He pays the money. If they read so much when they come to church on Sunday, if they can prove to him that they've read, you know, like a chapter, whatever, I think it's like for every chapter they read, he gives them $1 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And it breaks his heart because even though he's done that, they still refuse to read. You see what I'm saying? They shouldn't have, if we really truly knew the Lord, and we truly knew the close relationship with the Lord, we truly understood just how much God does for us, you shouldn't have to be persuaded to have that close relationship with him. You should want to. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only thing, we can never really repay the Lord for all that he's done for us. All we can do to show him that we appreciate it is spend some time with him. You know what I'm saying? Spend some time with him. Right, exactly. I wish I would have did the same thing, man. I've been racking up them dollars. But you know what? That's the thing. Like, we shouldn't have to persuade. And that's what this guy do. This is his wife. She said, I do. You know what I'm saying? And it says a concubine, so I'm guessing she wasn't the main one. But, you know, back in the day they had that. She was still his wife, but I guess she wasn't his main wife. But she said, I do. She said, I do. So she shouldn't have to be persuaded to be faithful to her husband. She shouldn't have to be persuaded to come back home. That's what she's supposed to be at anyway. But that's what happens when God is not on the throne. You know what I'm saying? You got church, got to have these big days and have blow-ups and giveaways and all kind of stuff. You know, the crazy music that to persuade you to come to church. You know what I'm saying? You got to have all kind of contests to persuade you to do. I know Brother Terry, and again, his intentions are good, but he has in the contest right now with people that he's led to the Lord. I don't know the exact details of the contest, but basically for a certain period of time, whoever leads the most people to the Lord, they get some kind of prize. And you know what I'm saying? He's a truck driver, so he has people all over the country. You know what I'm saying? So he's having this contest, and he's doing it to get them to go out soul winning. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's doing it. And so basically, he's trying to persuade them to go out and do what they should be doing anyway. You know what I'm saying? When I talk on here, I talk to y'all about soul winning all the time. I'm always bringing it up because I want to persuade you that, hey, the benefits of going out is something that is astronomical. I can't tell you how much my life has changed since I started soul winning. You know what I'm saying? But I shouldn't have to persuade you because it's something that you know you're supposed to be doing anyway. If you're here today and you're saved or you're a Christian, your job, the thing that you're supposed to do, your purpose is to tell other people about the Lord just like somebody told you about the Lord. You know what I'm saying? If the Lord has saved your soul, then you should be getting his word every day. And so you'll know what he wants you to do from that point forward. You know what I'm saying? If the Lord has really been good to you, you should be on your knees praying and thanking him every day. You know what I'm saying? Thanking him every day. You shouldn't have to be persuaded. We shouldn't have to have big days to get people to come to church. We shouldn't have to have giveaways and silent auctions and all kind of weird programs to get people go to church. We shouldn't have to persuade anybody to do anything for the Lord because the Lord has already done enough. But see, we don't know that because he's no longer king in our lives. You know what I'm saying? The first thing when something going, where was God? He was there. You know what I'm saying? It was a school shooting. What was God? You kicked him out. You know what I'm saying? When bad things happen, we'll blame God. But when good things happen, we don't always thank God. You know what I'm saying? And we don't spend the time with God and we don't give him the due diligence. The reason why I do what I do, because God has done so much for me. And I thank him so much for the wisdom that he showed me. So I know that's why I do it. And I really regret the 24 years before I gave my life to God. I regret the 24 years before that I didn't spend more time doing it. And like I said, you can never do enough to please God. If you really want to pray enough to please God, you would have to pray 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we know that's not possible. You know what I'm saying? You have to be in your words 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For as much as God has done for us to truly worship and praise him, that's all we would do. You know, it'll be 24 hours, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day of praising God. And of course, we all know that's just not possible at all. You know what I'm saying? But at least spend some time with him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he deserved 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but he don't want that. But he wants you at least, he shouldn't have to persuade you to at least give him 10, 15 minutes to get in his word and read a chapter. I mean, I read slow, and it takes me about 10 minutes to read one chapter. You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to be persuaded to give him that 10 minutes. Again, I shouldn't have to be persuaded to give him some time, even just before you eat. Thank you, Lord, for this food. You don't see people praying over their food in public no more. I still do it. Me and my kids do it, but it's rare and far between. I remember the other day, me and my wife, we was out for our anniversary last week, And the lady walked up, and we just so happened we was praying because we had to get our appetizer. So even before we did appetizer, we go ahead and pray. And so she walked up and started talking, and she didn't realize we was in, you know what I'm saying, we was praying. She said, "Oh my God." And she just kind of ran off. And when she came back, she was beat red. And she was just like, we don't see that often anymore. You know what I'm saying? We shouldn't have to be persuaded to do the things that we know we're supposed to be doing. But we do, because God is no longer on the throne. And that's what happened. This man, even though she had said, "I do," you know what I'm saying? Just like we said, "Jesus Christ, I accept you." That's us saying, "I do." You know what I'm saying? That's us starting our relationship with the Lord. Even though this woman had said, "I do," she still was unfaithful and went away, and he had to go persuade her to come back. And again, that's what happens when God is not king. People have to be persuaded to do things they know they are already supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? That's why, again, you know what I'm saying, I try to keep my videos short. I know somebody told like, "Man, maybe if you shorten your videos up, you'll get more views." Well, guess what? You know what I'm saying? That during Marvel movie was like 3 hours something long. And look how much money it made. Look how many people went and watch that. But yet I put a video and I go over an hour and people don't even click on, "Oh, that's an hour. I'm not watching that." You know what I'm saying? I shouldn't have to persuade people to come in here and get this word that God has for them. But we do when God is not on the throne. And that's what happened. God wasn't on the throne in this young lady's life. So her husband had to go persuade her to come home and be what she already supposed to be and do the things she's already supposed to be doing. So then watch what happened after that. So it says, so he went down, took a servant and an extra donkey to Bethlehem to persuade her to come back. Now, when he arrived at her father's house, she took him inside, and her father welcomed him. And her father urged him to stay a while. So he stayed 3 days, eating, drinking, and sleeping there. Now, the Levite, now we're going to see again, I know I read ahead of the story because of course I did the lesson. But his intention was basically go there, pick up his wife, and keep on going. Because he was on his way to the temple and going to the tabernacle of the Lord. Because like I said, he's a godly man. It's going to come out a little bit later. So that was his intention. But then what it said, her father urged him to stay a while. So they stayed there 3 days, eating, drinking, and sleeping. So instead of just doing his task and doing what he's supposed to be doing, her father convinced him to do something else. And y'all remember, that's a reference back to number 12. Like I said, I'm not going to preach because I want to get to my other points. But a reference back to number 12 from last week's lesson was, you would easily agree to do things that you know you are not supposed to do. This man had a mission, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna get to it over here in the next paragraph. But he had a mission. His job, his purpose was to go find his wife, persuade her to do something she's supposed to be doing anyway, which is come back to him, and then they were gonna go and worship the Lord. That's what he's supposed to do. He wasn't supposed to be hanging out there drinking and kicking in and partying. But the day, come on, man, hang out for a little bit. And what happened? It said he agreed. And he agreed, so he stayed there 3 days, eating, drinking, and sleeping there. And watch what's going to happen because of that. And again, this is something that happens when God is not king. When God is not on the throne of your life, when he's not the king of your life, then you're easily persuaded to do stuff that you know you weren't supposed to be doing. This dude knew he didn't have the time to hang out for 3 days, eating and drinking and partying, you know what I'm saying? But yet he did it because he was easily influenced because God was not king in his life. So check this out. So it said on the 4th day, the man was up early. So he got up early. He's like, all right, I got to go. I've been here 4 days. I wasn't supposed to be here but a day, but I've been here 4 days. So I got to get up and get to going. So it says on the 4th day, the man was up early, ready to leave. But the woman's father said, have something to eat before you go. So the two of them sat down together and had something to eat and drink. And then the woman's father said, please stay the night and enjoy yourself. So the man got up to leave, but his father-in-law kept urging him to stay, so he finally gave in and stayed the night. So again, he had no backbone. When I got something to do, I got something to do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I can help somebody real quick, that's cool. But I'm task oriented. When I got something to do, when I got somewhere to be, it might not seem like because I'm always late, but I'm always late because I'm always trying to get so much stuff done. I'm trying to be productive with my day. That's one of my goals every day, is to be as productive as be. With God giving me this day, and I'm gonna try to get as much done. That's what I do every single day, y'all. That's honestly one of the keys to my success. Every single day, I try to get as much stuff and get as much done in every day as possible. And what happens, the reason why I'm always late is because I'll be doing one thing and it'll be going a little longer than I expected to go. And well, I know I need to go, but I still want to get this thing done. And I just spend the time to get the thing done. It might push me back 15, 20 minutes. And then now I'm 15, 20 minutes late to the next task. And then the next task take a little bit longer. So by the end of the day, I'm about an hour behind. And that's what happened. But it's because I try to get so much done out of my day. And see, this guy had a goal. You know what I'm saying? He said he got up early. So that shows you that he had some stuff to do. He got up early because he needed to get some traveling done because he needs to get to the house of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I know that ahead of time because I put the story together. But he was on his way to the house of God. He knew he needed to get there, so he had stuff to do. That's why he got up early. But what happened? That come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Just hang out for a little bit longer. Now he had already been there 3 days, and he was like, no, man, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? So then the father said, please stay tonight and enjoy yourself. But look, he said the man got up to leave. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, look, man, I got to go. I got somewhere to be. He said, but the father-in-law kept urging him to stay, so he finally gave in and stayed the night. So once again, a reference back to number 12. You are easily influenced to do something you know you're not supposed to be doing. He know he didn't have the time to sit there and drink and eat and party because he was supposed to be going to serve the Lord, but yet he did anyway. See what I'm saying? And that's what happened. Man, man, we're supposed to go to church tomorrow. Now, we're supposed to go to church tomorrow. Oh, man, come on, bro. They having the shaky booty contest in the club tomorrow, man. You don't want to miss that. I know how you like booties. Oh, nah, bro. I'm going to have to get up early to go to church. Come on, bro. We can just go for a little while, and then we can leave. And then what happened? Eventually give in, and next thing you know, you in the club till 2, 3, 4 in the morning and get home so drunk and so messed up, and you don't get up and go to church the next day. See what I'm saying? That was the kind of thing that happened when you have no conviction for the things of God. And that's what's happened with him. He getting caught up. He know he's supposed to be on his way to go serve the Lord, but he didn't because he's allowing his father-in-law to convince him otherwise. So watch what happened. So it says, so the man got up to leave, but his father-in-law kept urging him to stay. So he finally gave in and stayed the night. So on the morning of the 5th day, he was up early again. He was up early again and ready to leave. And again, the woman's father said, have something to eat. Then you can leave sometime this afternoon. So they had another day of feasting. You see what I'm saying? So number 23 is this. That's also, again, another reference to number 12. But number 20, this is going to also be point number 24, actually. Number 24 is this. When God is not king, your life is not productive. When God is not king, you're not going to be productive. There's going to always be some kind of distraction that keep you from doing what you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Talitha came to church yesterday. She came to the Easter service. She ended up leaving before the big service, but she came to the Easter service, and I was happy for her because, you know, it's a 45-minute drive, and she got there. She was actually there at the church before me, and I stayed right down the street, and she stayed all the way in Dixon, you know. But I was shocked to see her there because she said she was going to come the night before, and then, like, that night, she says to me, like, you know what? I'm not feeling good. I don't think I'm going to make it. I'm like, dang it. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like, man, you know, and I was just kind of saying, I was like, man, the devil got her. You know, it's going to always be an excuse. But then the next morning, and then the reason why I said it, and I wasn't judging her, but I just said it. And the next morning I got there, she was there. And I said, hey, you know, I'm happy to see you. I'm surprised you're here. She said, yeah. She said, I got to think about it. The Lord got to work on my heart. And you know what I'm saying? I knew there was the devil working on me to keep me from going. So the devil working on me that hard to keep me from going, then I must needed to go. And that's why I made sure I got my butt up and came on in. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying this. She told me that herself. And then I was kind of joking like, yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. The devil got her. But like I said, if you don't have the conviction about doing the things of God, then the devil will always be, don't worry about doing that. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to go to church today. You ain't got to get on there and listen to Brother John preach tonight. You can listen to him later on. You know what I'm saying? It's a video. Just watch it later on. And you'll say that, and then you never end up getting the time to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for you to be productive when God is not king of your life. You know what I'm saying? Because when God is not king of your life, you don't have any kind of routine. Your life is chaotic. That's one of the points we talked about. There's no stability there. You know what I'm saying? You just go with the wind. Whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? There's some things, and again, I tell y'all this because I hope to influence y'all to do the same thing. There's certain things in my day that's structured in my day. It's part of my day. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, reading my Bible. When I get up the day before I even get up, like tomorrow, I know exactly at what point I'm gonna read my Bible tomorrow already. You know, God willing, I'm still alive, that is. But I already know tomorrow I'm gonna read my Bible before I go to bed tomorrow night after my lost, because I'm having my lost sheep ministry tomorrow night. So I know that once I get everybody, you know, have the ministry, you know, drop everybody back off at the house and get back to my house, then I'm gonna read my Bible. I already got that set. That's set in my day. You know what I'm saying? I already know what I'm gonna pray. You know, my prayer time is set in my day. You know what I'm saying? My opportunity to tell people about the Lord is already set in my day. There's certain things that's set in my day, because if you don't set those things in your day, you will never get those things done. I tell people that all the time. If you don't plan to go to church, you're not going to go to church. If you don't have like, this is what I'm going to do, you're not going to go. If you go in with the attitude like, well, I go if things work out, or if I get the chance, I go, you're not going to go. It's not going to happen. If you don't plan on praying, if you don't have prayer, scheduled prayer time in your day, you're not going to pray. If you don't have scheduled Bible reading time in your day, you're not going to read your Bible. It's just not going to happen. But see, when you understand, Lord, the Lord gives you discipline, and it'll help you be productive. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people know me. Y'all know 5 years ago, I started a diet. You know what I'm saying? I was up to like 360 pounds and having to use a breathing machine to sleep at night, or I would die. And I just realized that I had been unhealthy all my life. So 5 years ago, I started dying. I ended up losing. My goal was to lose 105 pounds, and I ended up losing that 105. I actually ended up losing 108. Now, I've gained about 20 of it back that I got to try to get rid of again. But, you know what I'm saying? At one point, I had lost 108 pounds. Why? It's not because I'm so disciplined or I'm just so, you know what I'm saying, strict on myself. It's because I understood discipline. It was discipline to help me get there, but it was me understanding the discipline of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? The Lord giving me the wisdom to have the discipline that I need to do that. You know what I'm saying? It helped me be productive in my work. It helped me understand being consistent, because that's the thing about the Lord. You don't have get the blessings of God and the things of God, have a close relationship with God. You have to be consistent. You know what I'm saying? You have to be consistent with the Lord. I said you got to read your Bible every day. You have to pray every day. You have to look for opportunity to tell people about the Lord every day, consistently. Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, you have to be consistent. And the same thing for your diet. You have to work on that every single day. I've been on this diet for 5 years now, and I still, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, like I told y'all yesterday, I ate horrible yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I had all kind of, we had donuts and stuff at the church and cinnamon rolls at the church, and that should have been bad enough. And then I went to my son's house, and they had like the Reese's peanut butter eggs everywhere, and they had this kind of little lemon cake. I've seen them several times before, but I actually got it's like a little lemon pound cake with like some lemon drizzle on it. And man, I ate about half of that thing. It was so good. You know what I'm saying? So even though I've been on the diet and I have the self-control, I still have to work on it every day. But see, yesterday, I already made in my mind it was my cheat day, so I knew I was going to eat bad. I didn't plan on eating that bad, but I knew I was going to eat kind of bad, so I kind of let my inhibitions down, and I just my body just ran wild. So you got to work on it every day. You know what I'm saying? You got to work on it every day. You're going to be on a diet, lose a certain amount of weight, and keep it all. You got to do that every day. If you're going to have a close relationship with the Lord, that's something you're going to have to do every day. See what I'm saying? So when you serve the Lord will make you productive. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care how many hours you work. I don't care how many inventions you come up with. I don't care how much money you make. If you're not doing stuff for the Lord, it's not productive. Your life is not going to amount to nothing in the end. And that's what you got to understand. It's not productive. So this guy, you know what I'm saying, instead of giving in and doing what he's supposed to be doing, he's constantly giving in to his flesh. His father-in-law, he's trying to leave. He's going, oh, don't worry about it going, just stay here. And he's constantly giving in. He's supposed to have been gone. He's been there for 5 days when he was only supposed to be there for 1. That's counterproductive. And that's what happens when you have when you don't spend time with the Lord, when you don't have a close relationship with the Lord. Most of the things that we do are counterproductive. There's so many things that I used to do back in the day, and I look at it now like, God dang, I can't believe I wasted that much time doing that thing. Like, how I never really realized how counterproductive it really was and how it was really keeping me from getting where I need to be. I never really realized it because I was so busy feeding my flesh and enjoying it. And that's what happens when God is not king in your life is not productive. This guy has some stuff he's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be making his way toward the temple of God, but he's constantly giving it to his flesh, so he's constantly belaboring it. You know what I'm saying? And he actually, when we get to it, we're going to see he never did make it to the temple. When we get to the end of the story, we're going to see he never did make it to the temple. So though I'm hoping y'all to stay in to the end, going to see what end up happening. So number 24 is when God is not king and your life is not productive. This guy got something. He got up early. He got up early to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it shows you he has something to do. He has somewhere to be, but he let his flesh get the best of him and let his father-in-law convince him, oh, just hang around a little bit. And again, it's going to end up causing him some problems because he did that thing. So he told him, hang around. Yeah, he was getting ready to leave. Father-in-law said, get you something to eat and you can leave later on this afternoon. Now, back then, they can only travel during the daytime. You know what I'm saying? And they walked everywhere. It ain't like they had cars. It ain't like us. They walked everywhere. So therefore, it wasn't safe to travel at night. So if you're going to do some major traveling, which is by, you can tell by the wording of this chapter that they were going to do some major travel. He had some major ground to cover. So that's why he was up early, because he knew he needed to leave out early so he can get some ground cover. You know what I'm saying? So again, he knew he had something to do, but yet, again, in reference 12, he let his father-in-law easily influence him not to do that. So his father-in-law told him, go on, eat something, then you can leave later on. So right off the top of his head, he should know, I got ground to cover. There is no way I can leave later on this evening, because if I leave later on this evening, I'm not going to get where I need to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to be productive. But yet, what did it say? It said, you can leave later on, so they had another day of feasting. See what I'm saying? Easily influenced and not being productive. So watch what happens. So in verse 9, it says, so that afternoon, as he and his concubine and the servant were preparing to leave, his father-in-law said, look, it's getting late. Stay tonight and enjoy yourself, and tomorrow you can get up early and be on your way. So this dude is just like the devil, you know, and that's what the devil do. Every time you get ready to do something for the Lord, he'll convince you not to. You know what I'm saying? Every time you get ready to go where you're supposed to go or be what you're supposed to be, he'll give you something to convince you to not to do it. And so this guy don't like the devil. He know this guy was supposed to leave. He know he's supposed to be gone, but yet now it's late. See, he knew, because notice what he told him. I'll just stay until, and then the afternoon come around, you can leave. And then once the afternoon came around, he's like, oh, no, it's too late now. You don't need to go. So he was trying to get him to stay even farther. But finally, after 5 days, he said, but this time the man was determined to leave. See, like I told you, if you're going to serve the God, you got to be determined to do it. You gotta schedule your time with God. You gotta work on it. A close relationship with the Lord is work, and you have to put in that time. You got to be determined to do it, because if you're not determined to do it, the devil's going to sway you from doing it every single time. So this time, this guy was actually determined to leave. So it said, but this time the man was determined to leave. So he took his 2 saddled donkeys and his concubine and headed in the direction of Jebus, that is Jerusalem. It was late in the day when they reached Jebus, and the manservant said to him, it's getting late, too late to travel. Let's stay here in this Jebusite city tonight. So number 25 is this. When God is not king, you lose a lot of time with nothing to show for it. When God is not king, you lose a lot of time. So it's kind of a little bit of different from 24, with your life not being productive, but you lose a lot of time without nothing to show for. And when I came up with this point, I was thinking more of, you know what I'm saying, when God is not your king, you're out there living this world, you're sinning. You're selling drugs, you're alcohol, you're addicted to alcohol, you're addicted to women, or you're addicted to men, or you're addicted to drugs, or something like that, and that nature, or you're addicted to money, so you're doing things, illegal things, and what end up happening when you're doing illegal things, eventually you're going to get caught. And then what happens? You go to jail. You know what I'm saying? For however long. And that's one of the things I always talk to the guys about in jail. I like, man, the worst part of y'all being here is not even the fact that you locked up. I like, the worst part of you being here is all the time you're going to lose. You know what I'm saying? Look at all the time you're losing. Because most of the guys that was in there, they had kids. You know what I'm saying? Someone was married. You know, things of that nature. And they're in there 2, 3, 4, 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Look at all that time. You can't make that up. You know what I'm saying? You go away for 10, 12 years, and by the time you get out, your kid is grown. You can't make that time up. You know what I'm saying? You can't make up the time. You lose that time, and what do you have to show for it? Nothing. Even guys that was the most ballingest drug dealer ever, by the time they get locked up 10, 12, 15 years, by the time they get out, all their money they had is gone. All the friends they had is gone. All the people that they was hanging with is gone or dead or whatever. You lose all that time, so you don't realize how much you're losing, and you have nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? You in this world sinning, you going to work trying to kill yourself so you can have houses or have a big bank account and have all these things. But in reality, all it takes is the bank to go bankrupt or something like that, or the financial market to crash, or the house market to crash, and you spend all that time building these things, stacking these material things up, and all it takes is a wrong decision by somebody else, then all that stuff is gone, and you have nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you spend all that time, doing all these things, and then you go to jail, and I'm sorry, y'all, my daughter walked through like a brontosaurus. She shook my whole phone. You know what I'm saying? I told her about walking softly, but I guess she don't get it. But again, you spend all that time living for the world, doing these worldly things, and by the time you get through doing all these worldly things, at the end of your life, what do you really have to show for it? Because that money is only going to last a little bit, if it lasts at all. You know what I'm saying? That house is only going to last a little bit, if it lasts at all. It's nothing. That's why you should spend your time working on things that's going to be worth something forever. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's why I spend my time soul winning, leading people to the Lord, building my rewards up so when I get to heaven, I can have those crowns to throw at Jesus' feet. So when I get to heaven and my works go through the fire, it won't be wood, hay, and stubble. It'll be gold, precious, and gold, silver, and precious stones. That's what you gotta understand. What are you gonna spend? What are you spending your life building? Are you building building something out of wood, hay, and stubble, or gold, silver, and precious stone? You know what I'm saying? But most of us, we spend our lives working for wood, hay, stubble, stuff that's going to burn up, stuff that don't last. So we get to stand before the Lord, we're going to be ashamed because we're not going to have anything to show for the life, this wonderful life that he gave us. And that's what you got to understand. Like I said, even if you became the greatest, like I'm a chemist, if I was the greatest chemist of all time, if I didn't do anything for the Lord, that don't mean nothing. I don't care if you came up with a cure for cancer. I don't care if you came up with a cure for AIDS. I don't care if you came up with a cure for Alzheimer's. I don't care if you came up with a cure for COVID. If you didn't do anything for the Lord with your life, then that stuff is worthless. That stuff is not going to last. Yes, it may give you a little notoriety here while you was here on earth. It may put a couple of dollars in your pocket in your bank account, but that ain't going to be nothing when you go through that door called death. And you might know 50, 100 years from now, you might not even be remembered. But think about people like Paul and Moses. You know what I'm saying? I say these names and you know them right. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't have a good knowledge of the Bible or close relationship with the Lord, you know who I'm talking about when I bring up Moses. Even atheists know who Moses is. You know what I'm saying? Even atheists know who Paul is. Even, you know what I'm saying? Atheists know who Jesus is. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? These people lived 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago. And yet we still talking about them today. Why? Because they live their life and they use their life to have gold, to build up, build their house, their lives with gold, silver, and precious stones instead of wood, hay, stubble. Stuff that's going to last forever and only get purified when they go through the fire instead of getting burned up. See, that's what you got to understand. I always think about, and I've used this example. Y'all heard me use this example before. I think about Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Look how popular he was. Billions of records sold. Touched the lives of billions of records. Billions of people. You know what I'm saying? Had all kind of money. Had every, you know what I'm saying? Probably had everything a man can ever want. You know what I'm saying? But yet, he's been dead, I don't know exactly how long, but he's been dead, I think, like 10 years or something now. And what is he known for? Out of all the music, probably the most popular artist of all time, one of the most popular celebrated artists of all time. And 10 years after this, what he's known as, a child molester. And the crazy part about that is, they never did prove that he molested anybody. It was just said that he molested people. Went to court. Never found guilty in court. But most people that know of Michael Jackson this day know of him as a child molester. They don't know of him as the great artist that he was. So what was the point of his life? He has nothing to show for it. And I hope you say, I don't know if you say or not. I think he was Jehovah's Witness, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't even know if he was saved or not. But if he was saved, what do you have? I can only imagine, what do you say to God when God say, okay, I put you in front of billions of people. I know, so I gave you access to billions of people through your music. How many of them did you tell about me? Man, I would feel like this small if I stood before God and I knew that I've talked to billions of people and I didn't tell none of them. I didn't leave not one single one to you, to the Lord. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand, you lose a lot of time with nothing to show for it when God is not on the throne, when God is not king. Because we spend our time doing frivolous things. Like I told y'all earlier, there's so many things that I used to do. I spent a significant amount of time doing. Even stuff like playing football and watching football, stuff like that. You know, you think about, you watch a football game, especially an NFL game, that's 3-4 hours. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people, they'll watch the morning game, the evening game, the night game. They'll spend 12 hours in one day watching football and won't spend 12 minutes in their Bible reading. You know what I'm saying? And that football game is over. That's it. It's over. But that Bible is give you something that can last for eternity. You know what I'm saying? Help you make decisions that will last for eternity. And yet you don't spend no time with it. See, we do that a lot with our time. That's the sad part about it. So you got to understand, when God is not king, we do stuff like that. We lose a lot of time and have nothing to show for that time. Where did all that time go? You just spent 9 hours watching football. How productive was that? Show me something from that. You got nothing from. You might have a little enjoyment for a few minutes, and you know what I'm saying. You might spend all that time watching your favorite team's lost. So not only did you lose all that time, your team lost. The people you were supporting lost anyway. So you might have been better off just getting this Bible. But see, we do that every day because God is not king in our life. When God is not on the throne, we do that. We waste so much time with recreational things and doing things that's not going to amount to nothing in the end, and don't spend enough time into doing stuff that will matter, like soul winning, reading your Bible, and being in your relationship with the Lord. You see what I'm saying? And that's what's going on here. He spends so much time giving into his father-in-law and giving into his flesh. He's not getting to where he need to be so he can do the things that he need to do. And it's gonna get him. It's gonna bite him in his butt in the end. Watch this. So then it says, it was late in the day. So again, had he left when he got up early like he was supposed to, they probably could have got somewhere where they would have been safe. But because he left when he left, he let his father-in-law convince him to keep staying around, and then he missed his opportunity to be productive and get some good work done that day. So in verse 12 it says, so he told the servant was like, hey, it's getting late in the day. We really need to it's getting about time where it's getting dangerous to travel. We need to go ahead and stay in this city. So in verse 12 it said, no, his master said, we can't stay in this foreign city where there are no Israelites. We will go on to Geba. We will find a place to spend the night in either Geba or Ramah. So they went on. The sun was setting as they came to Geba, a town in the land of Benjamin. So they stopped there to spend the night, and they rested in the town square, but no one took them in for the night. So you see, he ended up, because he left late, because he was giving in to his father-in-law advance, because he didn't have no backbone to stand on what he was supposed to be doing. My voice is on to crack a little bit. I'm talking too much, but I'm just so excited about this. This is such a good chapter. So again, because he was going through all these things, because he didn't do what he was supposed to, because he wasn't being productive with his time, and he lost all that time. Now he ended up in this place, and it said the sun was setting, so he had no option. Like he had lost his whole day because he was feasting and drinking all day. So now he has no option but to stay in this town. And in this town, the thing is though, he was like, well, it ain't too bad because my relatives are here. This was an Israelite town. Again, he was a Levite, so he was an Israelite. So instead of staying at where the Jebusites was at, because they weren't Israelites, he wanted to stay here where he knew Israelites was at. But that's gonna turn out to be a bad move for him. It's gonna be a bad move. So number 26 is this. Your enemies, when God is not king, your enemies will be of your own household. If y'all remember, there was a concept that when Jesus was teaching, there was a concept he taught. He said your enemies will be in your own household. You know what I'm saying? And that's so true. You won't even be able to be safe when God is not king and on the throne, especially in your life. You won't even be able to be safe around or depend on your own family. You know what I'm saying? And that's so true. You know what I'm saying? When God is not king, you won't be able to be safe around your own family. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know my testimony. I've said that. You know what I'm saying? Most of the bad stuff that happened to me when I was growing up, especially like the molestation and stuff, it all happened by family. It was family that did it. It wasn't the creepy guy down the street like they want you to believe. It wasn't the weird neighbor that's always, looking out the window. It was the family members that I was staying with was the one that was doing the molesting. You know what I'm saying? You would think around your family is when you'd be the safest, but not when God is not king. Because when God is not king, again, there is no true love. You know what I'm saying? You think the love of your family would keep you safe. Your family will love you enough to make sure you're safe and protected. But when God is not king, there is no, that was point number 2 tonight, but 22 overall. There is no true love. There is no faithfulness. That's why they have this saying, family and business don't mix. You see what I'm saying? When God is not king, because we have no concept of love and faithfulness. So even with people that you would think because y'all are the blood or because y'all grew up together, the same people that you think will be safe, you will be safe around, you're not safe. You're not safe when God is not king. You see what I'm saying? I mean, even from the beginning, look what happened with Cain and Abel. First two men born on the earth, and one killed the other, his own brother. You see what I'm saying? Because he got jealous of him. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm telling you something. If you want to see if your enemies are in your own household, and if you got some teenagers, I'll tell you what, take their phone. Matter of fact, take their phones or even worse, take their chargers and hide them. And see will you not have to sit there and sleep with one eye open. Because they will murder you in your sleep if you take them phones or them chargers away from them. You know what I'm saying? You have your enemies be in your own household. And that's what happens when God is not king. because we value everything else. We value our own hearts, our own wicked desires, and we don't really care about the desires or the comfort or the respect, the wants of anybody else. You see what I'm saying? You don't. Yeah, that's right, Renee. You don't. I'm telling you, your kids will kill you. Trust, I've done this before. Like when I ground my kids, I just take their phone from them. You know what I'm saying? The spankers don't really work anymore. You know what I'm saying? They old enough. Take their phone from them. You know what I'm saying? You take their phone from them, man. I'm telling you, they will hate you. They give you the stink eye. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? But that's what Jesus told us. He said, you know what I'm saying? He said, when during the end days, your enemy is gonna be in your own household. And like I said, you know what I'm saying? I think I told y'all before. Like I used to think I had a family. But as I go, because I have a family now, I have a wife, I have kids, and I have an actual functioning family. We're a little bit dysfunctional, but for the most part, we're functional. We get things done, we get things taken care of. But what that thing that I had when I was younger, that was not a family. We were just a group of people that were related to each other. We was not family at all, because we did not have each other back. You know what I'm saying? We did not have each other's back at all. You know what I'm saying? Now, maybe some outside people came in. One of my cousins backed me up or something like that. But I didn't have to worry about the outside people getting to me. I had to worry about my family getting to me. And I remember this one time, like I was young, I was a hustler. So what I used to do to make money when I was younger, because my mama, she was on that crack or whatnot. So she would spend, like, she got food stamps and welfare checks and all that, but she would spend it all. So the only way I can have money to get anything for myself was I would go to the store for the old ladies in the neighborhood, because they were so afraid, because the neighborhood we lived in was so bad. They was afraid to go to the store for themselves. So I go down and they'd give me their list. They'd call my grandma, tell my grandma to send me down. I go to their house, get the list, get the money, go to the store, get everything, bring them back, and then they give it. And one day, man, I don't know if it was just the first of the month or what, but one day, man, I had like 4 or 5 runs that day, and I ended up making like $20. It was like 20 some bucks. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I was like, y'all might think $20 is nothing, but when you're a broke kid in North Memphis, man, back in the 80s, like I was rich. You know what I'm saying? So I had been going to the store all day, and I had stacked up, and I had this bag of money, because the ladies, what they would do, they would just give me their change. You know what I'm saying? They would get a change. And all the block boys and everybody, drug dealers, they knew me, so it was safe for me. They didn't bother me at all. Matter of fact, most of them protected me because they knew I was always yes, exactly, I was balling. But they knew I was in school and everything, and all the drug dealers in the neighborhood encouraged me to go to school, so I was always protected. So that's what I would do. So what the old lady would do, when I brought them their change back, they'd just either give me change or they might give me a couple of dollars or whatever. So like I said, by the end of the day, I had like over $20. And you know what I'm saying? Then some of it was change, some of it was dollars. So, man, that day, I'll never forget it. I set it out on my bed, and I counted it out. I counted how many ones I had. I counted how many pennies I had. I counted how many dimes I had. I mean, I knew every single coin, how many coins I had, how it all added up and all that. And I put it in the bag, and I'll never forget, I put it in the bag, I put it on my mattress and went to sleep. And I was just so happy, and I remember dreaming, oh man, all the stuff I was going to go buy tomorrow, and all of a sudden I'm going to do, and it was the visions of, like in the Christmas Carol, visions of candy canes and sugar plums, you know, rolling in my head. And I woke up that morning, and guess what? It was gone. It was gone. And it ain't nobody from the street came in and do it. My own family stole it from me. As a matter of fact, I ended up finding out it was my own mama to make it worse. You see what I'm saying? So when God is not on the throne in our lives, family don't mean nothing, because nobody knows love. It goes back to the first point I shared with y'all at the beginning. If y'all didn't catch the beginning, go back and read that so you understand go back and view it later so you understand what I'm talking about. When God is not on the throne, you know what I'm saying? When God is not on the throne, we have no true concept of love. We have no true concept of faithfulness, and we definitely have no true concept of family. You know what I'm saying? That's why they saying, oh, it's okay for two men to be together, 2 women to be together, or a man that used to be a woman to be with a woman that used to be a man. That's why, because we have no concept of family, because we don't have God on the throne of our lives, and we're doing whatever we want to do. You see what I'm saying? So this guy here thinking, oh man, I know I didn't travel, I know it got late, but at least I'm around family, I'm going to be safe. Watch what happened. You know what I'm saying? So number 26, your enemy will be in your own household, and you won't even be able be safe around your own family and friends. So watch what happened. And this is now I'm about to get to the thick of the lesson, y'all. Y'all ain't gonna believe this. So watch what happened. So it says, so now, of course, he was there in this square, and nobody took him in. So he was around his family, and nobody took him in. So he was basically going to sleep outside in the middle of the town. So verse 16 says, so that evening, an old man came from his work in the fields, and he was from the hill country of Ephraim. Now the Levite, that's where he stayed at as well. So they was basically like, they stayed in, this old man used to stay where this guy currently stays at. So it said that evening, an old man came home from his work in the fields, and he was from the hill country of Ephraim. But he was living in Geba in the territory of Benjamin. When he saw the travelers sitting in the town square, he asked them where they were from and where are they going. We have been in Bethlehem in Judah, the man replied. We are on our way home to a remote area in the hill country of Ephraim, and we're going to the tabernacle of the Lord. So I told y'all, see, he was a godly man. He was trying to do godly things. He was trying to get to church. But see, his father-in-law was keeping him from getting there. So again, they go, I ain't going to re-preach it, but it shows y'all why I came up with that point. So you got to be careful with that. But anyway, so he said, we are on our way home to a remote area in the hill country of Ephraim, and we're going to the tabernacle of the Lord. But no one has taken us in for the night, even though we have everything we need. We have straw and food for our donkeys and plenty of bread and wine for ourselves. So even though we've been provided for, God has provided for us, nobody has taken us in. Why is that? Because God is not on the throne. That's going to actually give me point number 27. So he said, number 27 is this: when God is not king, those that do right will be rejected, and those that do wrong will be accepted. And we see that all the time. You know what I'm saying? You get on there and you preaching about, you know what I'm saying? You like when I'm on here. Honestly, I'm surprised, and I guess it's just I have such a small following that will allow me to continue to speak freely and preach the way I do and be able to bring the truth. So you know what I'm saying? I get kind of disheartened sometimes that I don't have a huge following, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure is what allows me to keep doing it. Because the more popular you get, the more people you expose to, and the more you're gonna have have a chance of coming across a hater that's gonna hate on you, get you shut down. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I speak the truth on here. I don't bite my tongue on anything, and I don't cater to anybody. You know what I'm saying? If it comes up as I'm bringing the word, then it just comes up. You know what I'm saying? So I'm able to do that because I have a small following. You know what I'm saying? But if I had a huge following, I guarantee you I would have been. Matter of fact, I had a video. I did have one video that was shut down on you. I put it on YouTube, and it got deleted off of YouTube. I made one statement about the presidential election possibly being fraudulent, and they canceled the whole video instead of just taking that statement out. I'm talking about one little line. I didn't even preach on it. I just kind of made a statement that, hey, it might be fake, and they took that out. You know what I'm saying? They canceled the whole video. They might cancel this one because I just said what I just said. You know what I'm saying? Why? But if I get on there and talk about all kind of other stuff, drugs and shooting women and shaking booties and all that, it wouldn't be no problem. You know what I'm saying? My video play all day. Matter of fact, I probably have a million views and 20,000 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? But because I preach the truth, you know what I'm saying? You go on my YouTube page, it hurt my feelings, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, but I got like 44 subscribers to my YouTube page. You know, so I do these videos. Now I'm gonna tell you, I put in my work for these videos. I might get 30 views. I think the video from last week got like 60 views. That's the most I done had in a long time. You know what I'm saying? It's the most I done had in a long time. But it don't bother me because even if I just reach one person, I know I'm still doing the work of the Lord. So the Lord see fit and I'll get my rewards for it. You know what I'm saying? But exactly, it's certain truth. Exactly, Renee, you are hitting what is the nail on the head. Exactly. You can only speak certain truth, but you can't speak real truth. And that's my whole point. You know what I'm saying? The people that speak the truth, the people that do it right, is gonna get rejected. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna get rejected. That's why my video got kicked off YouTube. It gets rejected. But if I was on here talking about filth, if I was on here like I can't believe I was watching a video popped up. I was going through my news feed or whatever yesterday, and a video popped up, and I get 2 or 3 of these a day. People fighting, people beating each other down. You know what I'm saying? Brutal. And you'll see they got 2,000 views or 200,000 views, 1 million, world star, stuff like that. That stuff gets circulated quick. But you put something on here about God, oh man, it barely get interviews. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because God is not on the throne. Nobody wants to hear the truth. Because when you hear the truth, you have to really look at yourself and see that you're a terrible person. We're all deep down to our core terrible people. But as we progress toward Jesus, he takes that away. You know what I'm saying? He makes us in his likeness. This is why we call Christian Christ-like ones. That's why I say you got to have that close relationship with the Lord, because the closer you have a relationship with the Lord, the farther away you get from that darkness and that terrible person you are. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be perfect. It's in all of us. I have imperfection. Y'all heard me talk about it earlier. I've thought about cheating on my wife before. It's happened. I've been tempted before. You know what I'm saying? But that relationship with the Lord keeps me from doing those things. And that's why it's so important. But at the same time, that's why the devil trying to keep you away from it. But you got to understand something. That's something I understand. My son asked me one day, he was talking about something, and I told him, I said, son, I'm going to let you know right now. You know, because he was talking about like, Dad, I get so lonely sometimes. It's just like I feel like I don't belong. You know, and he's young. He's like 20, but he's very mature for his age. So he's still not perfect. He's doing stuff I wish he wasn't doing, but he's not doing a lot of the silly stuff that a lot of the kids his age are doing these days. So he don't have a lot of friends. And he's like, why is it I feel so lonely? And I said, son, you're very mature, and you have enough wisdom and common sense to stay away from bad things. I said, that's a lonely road. I said, you walk a righteous path. Like, you still got some maturing to do, but you walk a righteous path, and it's not a lot of people. That's why me and the pastor was going over Matthew the other day, where it said broad is the way, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, but it said narrow and straight is the gate that leads to heaven, basically. Why? Because you're doing the right path. It's hard to walk that right path, and a lot of times you have to walk that path alone. That's why the gate is straight and narrow, because there's not a lot of people on it. And 9 times out of 10, if you walk on that path, you're probably the only one that's walking it in your world. You got to understand that. Why? Because evil is accepted in this world. You know what I'm saying? You turn on the radio, you're going to hear some Cardi B or some the Baby or something filthy, but you're not going to hear Bizzle. I'm pretty sure y'all like, who is Bizzle? It's this Christian rapper. Honestly, since I've started listening to him, I think he's the best rapper ever. I mean, over Tupac, over everybody. He's now my like favorite rapper. I started listening to him like 2-3 years ago. My favorite rapper. Phenomenal song. But you'll never cut the radio on to hear his music. You know why? Because he's talking about Jesus the whole time. I mean, and his songs, if you didn't listen to the lyrics and think that and know that it was Christian music, you'll think it's just a regular rap song. That's how good it is. But everything he's saying is positive, and everything he's saying is about the Lord, and you'll never hear it. You know why? Because in point number 27, those that do right will be rejected, and those that do wrong will be accepted. Every single time. That's the way this world is, because God is not king of this world anymore. I'm not saying God is not on the throne, but he's not the king of this world. What is called the devil. The devil is the prince of this world. And that's why those that do right will be rejected, and those that do wrong will be accepted. This man is trying to do the right thing. He just went and persuaded his wife to come back to him, and they on their way to church, and they stop in this town, and nobody would even let him in. But I guarantee you, if he came through that town and he had, you know what I'm saying, all kind of girls on his shoulder, had a caravan of dudes, they were smoking weed and all that, drinking, I guarantee you, everybody in town would try to get him to stay with him. You see what I'm saying? But I'm telling you what's going to happen. Hold on, y'all. Let me put my phone on charger. I just got my little thing saying, hey, you need to put that phone on charger. You talking too much. Put it on charger right quick. I hate for it to go out right in the middle, because I'm right there toward the end. I'm right at the end. And watch this crazy. Matter of fact, watch what's going to happen. So the old man see him, and he tell him, they in the town. He said, look, we God has provided for us, basically. He like, I got my own. Look what he said. He said, we have straw, we have food. You know what I'm talking about? We got plenty of bread and wine. We can take care of ourselves. We just need somewhere to stay. But nobody took him in. Why? Because they was doing what they supposed to. He was a godly man. And said, so the old man told him, said, you are welcome to stay with me, the old man said, and I will give you anything you might need. Just please do whatever you do not spend the night in this square. So you hear that, you're like, what's that all about? Why can't I spend the night in the night? If I was like, why not spend the night in the square? But see, the old man knew something that this guy didn't know. He knew how terrible these people was in this town that he was staying in. That's why he told him, hey, he said, look, I'll give you whatever you need, but man, please don't stay in the square. This is not where you want to be at. You know what I'm saying? Just like walking down my old neighborhood, North Memphis at night. You do not want to be walking down their street at night. When they get dark, you better have your butt in the house. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be walking down the street, because you never know what might happen. So number 28 is this. This is another thing that happens in your life when God is not your king. When God is not king, this is another thing that happens in our life. A lot of times we will be unaware of dangerous situations that we're putting ourselves in. We don't even realize this guy like, well, nobody taking me in. I'm just going to sit here in the square. We'll just sleep in the square. We'll be all right. He didn't realize how much danger he would have been in had he stayed out there in the square. And he's going to realize real quick. Matter of fact, this next line, we're going to show you, you're going to see why this old man said, hey, man, whatever you do, don't sleep out here. Because he knew how bad that town was. He knew it was some terrible, horrible, evil people in that town. So that's why he told them, don't sleep in this square. And see, when you're not living for the Lord, you know what I'm saying? You out there living for yourself, doing what you want to do, going where you want to go. You know what I'm saying? It might be fun. Like I said, it's going to be fun. That's why I said the pleasure of sin is good for a season. It might be fun, but you don't realize how much danger you putting yourself in while you're doing those things. You don't realize when you're hanging out with that person, how much danger you're putting yourself in because you're hanging with that person or because you go to this particular place. Like Samson. Again, I go back to Samson because we just went over a few weeks ago. He was out there by that vineyard. What happened? He ended up getting attacked by the lion. But guess what? He wasn't supposed to be around the vineyard anyway. That's why he ended up getting attacked. And that's what happened when God is not the king in your life. When God is not king, we don't follow the will of God. We follow our own will. And we think, oh, I'm doing what I want to do. I'm living my life the way I want to live. And we don't realize in doing that, we're putting ourselves in danger. I got a good friend of mine. She's really my friend. I call her my sister. And you know what I'm saying? And it's so funny because her kids actually believe that I'm her brother. They call me Uncle John. They think I'm her brother. You know what I'm saying? Like the kids was telling her one time, they like, she had moved recently. And her sister actually like, who helped your mama move? And she was like, oh, her brother John. And her sister was like, we didn't got no brother named John. But they was talking about me because that's how close we was. But anyway, she was from my bad days. She was somebody that used to hang out with me back when we was doing all the drugs and partying and drinking and all the other stuff that we was doing. She was from that life. You know what I'm saying? And now, just like me, she's completely changed her life around. She's a mom. She's a good Christian woman. Go to church, spend time in her Bible. And I actually just helped her move 2 weeks ago. She moved again 2 weeks ago. So I helped her move. And every time we get together, we always talk, we sit there, we like, man, we should be dead right now. Like, we sit back and look on the thing, how much dumb stuff that we done back in the day, how many opportunities, how many times that had God not been with us that we would have been taken out of this world. You know what I'm saying? How many times I could have died. That's one thing God showed me when he called me to preach. I was upset. You ain't never been there for me. And he went back and showed me how many times I could have died. You know what I'm saying? We've had bullets come in our house and we stay right there on the block, right by what all the big boys did their thing. We've had stray bullets come through our windows. You know what I'm saying? I've had a gun put in my face at least 3 times. I've been robbed at gunpoint at least 3 times. You know what I'm saying? At least 3, I think 4, but I know at least 3 times I can remember where I've had a gun put in my face and somebody taking everything that I had on me. And thank God they didn't take my life. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of times when it happened, I was doing some stuff I wasn't supposed to be doing, or I was somewhere I was supposed to be. And that's what we have to understand. When we don't make God king in our life and we don't live according to God's will, yes, we go where we want to go and we do what we want to do, but we want to realize in doing so, we're losing that hedge of protection that's around us, and therefore we're putting ourselves in danger. And see, this guy didn't see that. The old man knew it. And they were like, man, please, like, look, you can come stay with me. Please do not stay here. And there's a reason why. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the reason why. So number 28, you would be unaware of the dangerous situation that you put yourself in when God is not king. So here's why. Check out what happened. So the old man tell him, look, come stay with me. Do not stay in this square because it won't be good. He basically like, it won't be good for you. So it said he took them home. So he took them home with him and fed their donkeys. And here's where the story get really crazy, y'all. This is the part I want to make sure y'all got to. So I thank you for hanging in there with me. So he says, but whatever you do, don't spend the night in the square. So he took them home with him and fed their donkeys. And after they washed their feet, they had supper together. So they were just hanging out chilling. Now here you go. Now while they're in verse 22, now while they were enjoying themselves, some of the wicked men in the town surrounded the house. And they began beating at the door and shouting to the old man, bring out the man who is staying with you so we can have sex with him. That's crazy. That's insane. See, old man knew what was going on. He knew how bad those people were. This dude came through. He's just a traveler. They didn't know this dude from Adam. You know what I'm saying? They just knew this dude came to town and they saw that he went with the old man. So they waited till it got dark and they went and beat the old man house or door down. They come. Now, it'd been bad enough if they went and be like, hey, his wife was fine, bring his wife out. Because matter of fact, if you remember over in Genesis, Several times Abraham had his wife Sarah tell the people, like when they went to different towns, he would have his wife Sarah to say that they was brothers and sisters, because he was afraid, because he knew the people were so wicked that he was afraid if they found out that she was his wife, that they would kill him to take his wife because she was so fine. So I can kind of understand that, especially when you're in a situation, because you remember at the beginning, it said in those times there was no king, in those times there was no king in Israel. So, so you're dealing with a godless nation. So I can almost understand that you see, oh man, that dude wife fine. So they come around, hey man, see your wife out, she fine, we want a piece of that. Not that that's right, but I can almost understand that. But they didn't even want the woman, they wanted the man. You see what I'm saying? They wanted the man. Why? Because God is not king. So number 29 is this. When God is not king, sin is. Y'all get that? When God is not king, sin is. What would make you go to somebody's house, beat on the door, and tell them to send a man out? You being a man, tell them to send a man out so you can have sex with him. That's because you indulging in your sin. You know what I'm saying? When God is not king, sin is. And the more power you give it, the more the power it demands. You see what I'm saying? That's why, again, I bring up the homosexual issue all the time. I have no problem with homosexual people. I'm not a homophobe. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a homophobe at all. Don't get me wrong. But it is wrong, according to the word of God. That is something you're not supposed to be doing. So for them to be making laws saying that it's right, is the right thing to do, making laws saying that a man and a man can get married, a woman and a woman can get married, you know what I'm saying? Y'all think well, let them love who they love. It ain't no big deal. It is a big deal. Because the more you give in to sin, the more sin demands. You got this situation here where these men, I'm pretty sure they thought the same thing. Oh, these guys are homosexual. It ain't no big deal. But now they went from just being homosexuals to being what? Rapists. You see what I'm saying? Murderers. They're going to end up being murderers. Because watch what they're going to end up doing. See, sin, when God is not king, sin is. And the more power you give sin, the more it wants. And y'all know it started with homosexual marriages being legal. It started there. Y'all remember that a few years ago. I was like, man, this is crazy. Then now what? Transgender men has the right to compete with a man that says he's a woman has the right to compete in women's sports. So now you got men out there breaking women's records, knowing that the women can't even compete with them. He think he a man is mine, a woman is mine, but guess what? His body is the body of a man, which is naturally stronger because we built to be stronger. We're built to be faster. Women can't compete with that. But now you got dudes, they giving men medals that belong to women. You know what I'm saying? We've had 2 years, I think 2 years in a row. I don't know if it's in a row, but I know we've had twice where the award for Woman of the Year was given to a transgender man. You see what I'm saying? It started off, oh, we just want equal rights and want to be the right to get married. But now they demand everything. You can't even say anything about homosexuals. Like I said, the only reason why I'm getting away with saying it is because I don't have a lot of people on here. I don't have a lot of people watching this video. You know what I'm saying? But I guarantee you, if I did have millions of subscribers, if I did have millions of views, I would have been shut down these videos when can continue going. That'd probably shut my account down. The only reason why I'm squeaking by under the radar is because nobody paying attention to me. So I guess it works in my advantage having this small, you know what I'm saying? But it started off, oh, we just want equal rights. And now you can't even say anything. Like, don't you know that you can get in a fight with a homosexual man or a woman, and the fight has nothing to do with them being a homosexual, but you can actually go to jail for a hate crime because you got into a fight with a homosexual person? That is insane. Why? And like, if you think common sense like that, don't even make sense. But again, you don't have common sense because we don't have wisdom. We don't have any wisdom anymore, and we don't have wisdom anymore because we don't have a relationship with the Lord. You see what I'm saying? So that's what y'all gotta understand. I don't talk about the homosexual issue and the thing that's going on because I'm a homophobe. I'm just saying it's wrong. It's sin. And the more you give in to sin, the more sin is going to demand. The more power you give to sin, the more power it's going to want. It's just like a human. The more power a man has, the more he wants. The more money he has, the more he wants. If that's what he loves. You know what I'm saying? The more women he has, the more he's going to want. The more men a woman has, the more she's going to want. You know what I'm saying? If that's what they love. And sin loves power. So the more power we give sin, the more power it's going to command. And that's what y'all got to understand. I'm telling you, man, please, if any homosexual watching this, I pray you're watching this. I'm not bashing you. I'm just saying that when we give in to things like that, it hurts us more than we realize. And the more we give in to it, the more it's going to demand. You see what I'm saying? We gave in to having homosexual marriages. Now we got the transgender issue. Now we can't. Now, you know, in California, if somebody say, if a man say to call him a woman, by a woman pronoun, so if he's a he and he say, well, I'm a she, and you don't call him a she, you can go to jail for that. See, it started off with, oh, we just want some equal rights, homosexual equal rights. Now they got parades. They got Pride Month, where every day of the month they celebrate some kind of different abomination to the Lord. They actually celebrate it for a whole month. I can't remember which month it is, but they got a whole month where every single day they celebrate some different aspect of pagan rivalry, basically, that the Lord said we're not supposed to. And they start off with, oh, we just want to be free rights. You see, because when God is not the king, sin is. And the more power you give sin, the more power it's going to want. And now look at this. People don't even know what bathroom they're supposed to go into. You know what I'm saying? Don't even got men compete with women in women's sports and demolishing them. I mean, it ain't even coming close. And well, he's a woman. No, he's not. That's a man. You see what I'm saying? But see, that's what sin does. And that's what happened. I'm pretty sure these guys, like I said, they was probably homosexuals. And it ain't no big deal. They homosexuals. But now what they doing? They raping people. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to eventually kill somebody as well. You got to understand? So we got to understand something. When God is not king, sin is. When God is not king, sin is. And there's also, in that same point, there's a reference back to number 16. You know what I'm saying? When God is not king, we lack any concepts of moral principles. No honor, no appreciation, no respect for others or their properties. They can come there late at night, beating on this man's door, talking about sending out this dude that just went in there to stand with you so we can have sex with him. You see what I'm saying? That's what happens. That's the rock. And y'all, and this sounds crazy. Man, it's going to get even worse. Let me get into it because I'm getting close to my time and I want to get into this. So they go to the man's house and they demand to send the man out there, you know, so they can have sex with him. So the old man tried to give him some, talk some kind of common sense into him. So in verse 23, it says, so the old man stepped outside to talk to them. No, my brothers, don't do such an evil thing. For this man is my guest and such a thing will be shameful. Here, now listen to this. Look what he told him. Look what he offered him. He said, here, take my virgin daughter and this man's concubine, which was the man's wife, and I will bring them out to you, and you can do whatever you like to them, but don't do such a shameful thing to this man. Do y'all understand what's happening here? That's such a shameful thing. This homosexual thing, what they was commanding of doing was such a shameful thing that this man was ready to give up his virgin daughter. It ain't even like well, she belongs to the streets anyway. Y'all go ahead and take her. It ain't like the man was like, oh man, my concubine, she's a hoe anyway. You can go ahead and take her. You know what I'm saying? No, this is something that they cherished, they was pressured, but they was willing to give it up because they knew the other thing that these people was demanding, you know what I'm saying, what the sin was demanding was such an abomination. Like, I'd rather give up something that's precious to me than let you do the shameful thing to this man, because that was such a shameful thing to do. So again, it takes us back, right there, that's a reference back again to number 20, like I said, number 16, no concept of moral principles. No honor, no appreciation, no respect for others or their property. They at this man door, beating down his door, basically trying to kick his door in so they can have sex with another man, something they're not supposed to be doing. But also, there's going to be point number 32. When God is not king, we freely give away things that should be precious to us. Well, I say you freely give away, but it said we freely give away things that should be precious to us. When God is not king, this man, again, it said his virgin daughter. She wasn't a harlot. She wasn't someone, she had never been with a man, but yet this man was willing to give up her, something that was precious. And for her to be a virgin, that means she must have been a good child. And I'm pretty sure he loved his child. It ain't like he didn't like his child. He didn't love his child. They was going to give her up. But the thing that they was want to do was so horrible that he rather give up something that was precious to him, so to keep them from doing this horrible thing. The same with this man. This man had traveled all this way to go get his wife back. So obviously he had some love for her. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to bring her back. He didn't just discard her. He had some love for her. But yet they was willing to give them up so they can keep these people from doing this horrible thing that they was trying to do. You see what I'm saying? And that's what happened. When God is not king, we give up things. We give away things we freely give away things that should be precious to us. Now, in this case, this guy was going to give up his virgin daughter and the other guy was going to give up his concubine. But in our case, we give up our time and our soul. See what I'm saying? We give up our time and our souls. How do we do that? When we put the things of this world before we put God. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's why Jesus said again, go back to what something Jesus said. He said, man cannot serve God and money. He said, you're going to love the one and hate the other. You know what I'm saying? He said, then he said, what profits a man that gains the whole world but loses his soul in the process? And there's people out there that literally selling their souls, you know what I'm saying, won't believe in God, don't want to believe in God, selling their soul so they can have nice things and don't realize that those things don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? The price that they paying for those things is nothing compared to the price of their souls. Our souls is precious. You know what I'm saying? Our souls, you got to understand, our souls is so precious that the most powerful being that ever existed, and the other most powerful, he not even close to God because God created him, but the two the most powerful things, I ain't gonna say beings, whatever you want to call spirits or whatever, two most powerful is in constant conflict over them. You know what I'm saying? God is constantly trying to bring his people in. The devil is constantly trying to take people out. You know what I'm saying? That's how precious our souls is, and yet we'll give them away because we want a box Chevy sit on 20s, you know, on 30s these days, probably 30s, because we want a nice house with a swimming pool in the back. We giving it away, not realizing how precious it is. Same with our time. I was talking about it earlier about being productive, you know what I'm saying, and about losing the time and having nothing to show for it. Your time is precious. Our time is our most precious resource because that's the one thing we don't know how much of it we have. You don't know how much time you have. Honestly, I'm doing this sermon here and I got 2 more points and I don't even know how I got enough time to make through those 2 points. You know what I'm saying? As size as I'm right now getting to this lesson, I might mess around and have a heart attack before I even get through these 2 points. You know what I'm saying? Our time is precious. It's our most precious resource. You know what I'm saying? Our soul is even more precious than that. And yet we constantly just give them away freely so we can have the things of this world. We give away freely so we can have a relationship with this world instead of having a relationship with the Lord, our Lord Jesus Christ and our Savior. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand that things, when God is not king of your life, you do that and you don't realize you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize you're doing it. You think you're just coming up. You think you're just balling. You think you're just getting what you want and you don't realize how much you're losing in the process. You're losing something that really should be precious to you. You know what I'm saying? Your time and your soul is precious. These men, his wife and his virgin daughter, that was precious to them. You know what I'm saying? But because they were stuck in this land where there was no God, you know what I'm saying? Again, let's read back. Because I know when you get to this part, like, how can this go on? And that's why I told y'all the Lord warned us. He said, now in those days, Israel had no king. In other words, they wasn't worshiping the Lord. This was a godless nation. That's why some stuff can happen like this. This is why you can be in a situation where you go to visit a town and the men from the town come and surround the house and try to break into the house to rape you because there is no God. This is the snapshot of a godless nation. And that's why every single chapter has the statement from 17 on through 21. It says at least once, it says the statement, in those days there was no king. It's to let you know, all right, what you're about to read is crazy, but it's crazy. You know, it seems crazy, but these are the kind of things that happen when there is no God. That's basically what those are saying. It's forewarning us what we're about to read is crazy because there's no God, and that's what we're pushing toward in America. We're going toward being a godless nation. Less than 50% of the population goes to church anymore. A godless nation. These are the kind of, and this kind of stuff happens. Like I said, this is crazy here, but this is the kind of stuff that happens all the time. You see what I'm saying? That's what happens when God is not king. So when God is not king, you freely give away things that should be precious to you. And like I said, our 2 most precious resources is our time and our souls. And when you dedicate yourself to making money and having nice things instead of dedicating yourself to doing the work of God, you're freely giving away those 2 things that should be the most precious to you. So then after that, so watch what happens. So they try to convince him, like, all right, man, look, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, y'all trying to get some booty. You know what I'm saying? If it's that bad, look, take our daughters. Even though they precious to us, take my daughter, take this man's wife, and do with them what you want. But don't do this to this man. That's an abomination. That is shameful. That is not something you do. But watch what happened. What it say in verse 25? But they wouldn't listen to him. They wouldn't listen to him. Why? Because again, that's a reference back to number 6. What does number 6 say? Let me turn back here. I wrote it down. Number 6, reference back to number 6. We make our own standards according to the wickedness in our hearts. They didn't want women. They wanted that man. You see what I'm saying? That's what those y'all understand. They didn't want women, they wanted the men. Even though if they were supposed to, right, they should have wanted the women, they didn't want the women. They wanted the men. See, they wanted that was the desire of their heart. They just wanted to be wicked. They just wanted to be evil. They wanted the men instead of the women. So watch what happened. So it said, then the Levite took his concubine and pushed her out the door. So that's cold. When I read that, like, oh, that's cold. He just took her and pushed her out the door. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, had she not did what she did, they wouldn't have been there. You know, I'm not saying it's her fault, because what about to happen now is just straight horrible. I just can't even fathom it. Watch what happened now, because I got to finish this up. I'm way over my time. So it says, but they wouldn't listen to him. So then the Levite took his concubine and pushed her out the door. Watch what happened. Y'all, this is really sad, but this is what happened when God is not king. So in the next part of verse 25, it says, so then the men of the town abused her all night, taking turns raping her until the morning. Finally, at dawn, they let her go. And at daybreak, the woman returned to the house where her husband was staying, and she collapsed at the door of the house and lay there until it was light. That is insane. They sit there and they rape this girl all night long. You know what I'm saying? They raped her all night long, and they actually raped her to death. That's what I'm getting a little bit ahead, but in this verse, they actually raped her. They had sex to death. That is insane. You know what I'm saying? Well, how can something like that happen? Because God is not on the throne. And that's actually going to be my point. I got 2 more points, y'all. So bear with me. I know I'm over my time, but bear with me. I want to finish these last 2 points up. So number 31 is this. When God is not on the throne, we dwell in the darkness and shun the light. Because you notice, when did they do this? They did this at night. They did it at night. It said they came, they did it at night, and they had sex with her all night. And soon it said, as the day broke, because it said when finally at dawn, so the sun would start coming up, that's when they let her go. See, the Bible says men love darkness because their deeds are evil. See what I'm saying? You can get away with stuff at night. You know, so nobody can see you. You can hide yourself at night and get away with things you're not supposed to get through. That's why men love living in the dark, because their deeds are evil. And that's the Bible says, that men love to dwell in the dark because their deeds are evil. And you notice it was one until the light came up when they finally let it go. Why? Because when the light shine, people can see you. Oh, that's such and such. He over there raping that woman. At night, they can throw their little cloak over their head and get their little business in and go on about their business. But when the daytime, people be able to start recognizing them. So that's why most people, and that's why people reject God. You know what I'm saying? One of our points earlier was when you're doing right, you reject it, and when you're doing wrong, you accept it. That's why people reject Jesus. That's why people don't want to get saved. That's why people don't want to hear the word of God, because it shines a light into their darkness, and they love being in that darkness. We become a nation of darkness. You look at TV, all you see is darkness. You look at the shows that's out, all you see is the darkness. You know what I'm saying? You look at the commercials, all you see is darkness. You look at the cartoons, all you see is darkness. We've fallen in love with the darkness, and we're moving away from the light because the Lord is not king. And that's what happened. We dwell in darkness and shun the light. That's why nobody want to hear preaching. Because like I said, when somebody get to preaching, and you know what I'm saying, the preacher get to preaching, and he talk about smoking weed, then bam, he's shining a light in your darkness. He talking about drinking, bam, he's shining a light in your darkness, exposing you for who you are. You know what I'm saying? He talking about having sex and you're not married. Bam, he's shining that light into your darkness. So why go to the church and have them shine that light in the dark? You like that darkness. You like being able to give in to your alcohol whenever you want to. You like being able to give in to the women or the men whenever you want to. You like being able to get into to give into the drugs whenever you want to. You know what I'm saying? But let you go somewhere and hear the truth, then guess what? Now you're in a conviction about it. You know what I'm saying? Now you can't. I told y'all before, I still have the urge to smoke weed. I still wish I would love to be able to smoke weed, but I know it would be pointless because I would be so freaking paranoid if I did it, because it would bother me, the fact that I did it, because I know it's something I'm not supposed to be doing. I can't just enjoy it, you know what I'm saying, all ignorant like I used to. Now I realize the bigness of it. I realize how much it affects my relationship with the Lord. So it's not possible for me to go back down that path to smoke weed like I used to and do the things that I used to. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a light being shined on it, and I'm under conviction about it. So I can't do it like I used to. You see what I'm saying? But when if you want to play ignorance, you know what I'm saying? They had a statement, ignorance is bliss. So that's why people don't like to hear the word of God, because again, there's going to be some light shining into their darkness, and now they're going to be under conviction about it, and they ain't going to be able to enjoy it as much. You see what I'm saying? And that's why these guys, they raped her all night, but as soon as the light came up, they let her go. You know what I'm saying? It said it was light when she finally got back to the house. By the time she got back to the house, the light. So it was right before dawn. So they saw, oh, there go the sun creeping over the mountains. You know, because they was in the mountains area. If you know how Jerusalem and everything is. Oh, there go the sun. Let's go. For somebody to see us, somebody be able to recognize us. You see what I'm saying? That's why people don't like the word. That's why people don't like the word of God. That's why this world rejects the word of God, because it shines the light into the dark. It shows us how dark we really are. It shows us how dark our lives are and how dark the things that we do are. That's why nobody likes to hear the word. That's why people don't like to go to church. That's why, like we were talking about earlier, that's why people have to be persuaded to go to church. Because, you know what I'm saying, they're going to get some light shine on the dark. That's why people have to be persuaded to read their Bibles. Because their Bible going to tell them to stop doing some stuff they know they don't need to be doing. You see what I'm saying? That's why people have to be persuaded to pray to God every day, because they know when they talk to God, God talks back. And you ask God to show you something, He's going to show it to you, and you don't want Him to show it to you because you want to keep doing it, because you want to stay in that darkness. So number 31, we dwell in dark when God is not king. We dwell in the darkness and we shun the light. And we see that here. So that's why they had their way with her all night, and then they let her go in the morning. Now, this is the sad part. Like, honestly, this breaks my heart right here when I read this part. So it's in verse 27. So it says, so she came, they raped her all night long, and then she finally broke away because it was, the light was coming up, and they let her go. So in verse 27 it says, so when her husband opened the door to leave, he found her there. So she was just laying face down with her hands on the threshold. And he said, get up, let's go. But there was no answer. So he put her body on his donkey and he took her home. So again, they raped that lady to death. They had sex with her to death. And that's insane. I didn't even know that was possible. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you women know more than me. Y'all heard about that before, but I never heard about that until I read this Bible. But they sexed her to death. So again, so that takes us back to verse 20, which is, so point number 20 is two references there. Point number 20 is this, you'll walk a path that will ultimately lead to your destruction. Now again, please y'all, don't take this the wrong way. Don't take me, I'm not saying it's her fault, but at the same time, it's her fault. Because why were they even there? Because she had been unfaithful. Because God wasn't on the throne of her life. She had been unfaithful to her husband, and she ran back to her dad's house. So that's why they was in that situation, because she was being unfaithful. She had been unfaithful, and she went back to her dad's house, and he went back to retrieve her. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand. So, and the reason why she went back to her dad's house, because again, reference back to number 22. She had no true concept of love or faithfulness. Has she stayed faithful to her, has husband, has she really loved her husband, understood love, and stayed faithful to her husband, she never would have been unfaithful to him, never would have had to leave and go back home. They never been in that situation. Now, I'm not saying, I know people get on, girls, if she wasn't dressed like that wouldn't have happened, blah, blah. But you got to understand at the same time, there's cause and effect. There's cause, yes, people should have self-control. But in this situation, she was the one ran away. And this is somewhere they stopped on their journey back from getting her from doing something she wasn't supposed to do. So she didn't realize her being unfaithful to her husband and her leaving her husband and going back to her dad put her on the path that ultimately led to her destruction, led to her being raped to death. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is this sounds harsh, and it's not hard. That's just the truth. That's the fact that's here. You know what I'm saying? Again, cause and effect. For every action, there's the option of equal reaction. I'm not saying that she was, they was right to do that. They shouldn't have done that at all. Like I said, this is a sad situation altogether. And again, that's why it starts off saying in those times there was no king in Israel. You know what I'm saying? For something like this to happen, for a woman to be raped to death because, in fact, she wanted to go back home with her dad. I'm not saying that's right at all, but I am saying because she was unfaithful, because she didn't really know love, because she wanted to be somewhere she wanted to be instead of what she was supposed to be, she ended up being in this situation that led her to an untimely demise. And that had to be a horrible way to go. I can't imagine in any kind of way that you know what I'm saying, that it was okay. That had to be a horrible way to go, to be raped to death. And they don't say how many men before to be raped to death. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of them. You see what I'm saying? And for it to happen all night, that was a lot. It probably not hundreds. You know what I'm saying? So again, I cannot imagine that had to be she had to be in anguish, pain and anguish the entire time. But at the same time, because of the path she chose, because of the decision she made, because she just chose to be unfaithful, because she chose to go somewhere she wasn't supposed to be, again, one of our points, it opened her up to this attack. That was one of our other, it opened her up to this attack. Not that it's right. I'm saying, not what is her fault, but I'm just saying she did put herself in this position for this to happen because of the decision that she made. And I'm saying that so y'all can understand every decision we make is important. You know what I'm saying? Every decision we make is going to either bring us closer to God or going to take us farther away from God. It's either going to put us in God's will or out of God's will. And when we make decisions that puts us out of God's will, it opens us up to attack, and things like this can happen, especially when you're living in a godless nation, which is what we're getting to. So the last one, last paragraph, and my last point is this. So the husband went to tell her to get up. She was dead. Like I said, they had raped her to death. So in verse 29 it says, so when he got home, he took a knife. Now this is after her husband, it said he picked her body up and put it on the donkey. So it said when he got home, he took a knife and cut his concubine's body into 12 pieces. Then he sent one piece to each tribe of Israel. And everyone who saw it said, such a horrible crime has not been committed since Israel left Egypt. Shouldn't we speak up and do something about this? So that's going to take us back to reference number 4, reference back to number 4, once again, and reference back to number 29. So number 4 was, let me find that I haven't wrote down on my page. Number 4 was, we corrupt our lives and the lives of everyone around us. So again, he brought everybody into this. He took the body and cut it up and sent the piece to everybody. So everybody got involved in this wickedness that just happened. He wanted everybody to know what they did to his wife, how wicked it was, what they did to his wife. And also it shows us sin when God, that's a reference back to number 29, when God is not king, sin is. How can something like this happen? How can some men, again, a stranger come into your town and you go surround the house, try to beat the door down to rape him, and, you know what I'm saying, and end up raping his wife to death? How does something like that happen? Those the kind of thing that happens when sin is in control. When God is not king, but sin is. And that's exactly what happened. And this also will be my last point. Number 32 is this. And the last point, I'm going to finish up because I am way over my time. It says, but everyone who saw it said, such a terrible, horrible crime has not been committed since Israel left Egypt. Shouldn't we speak up and do something about this? So it says, should we speak up? I'm sorry, y'all. Somebody trying to call. He says, shouldn't we speak up and do something about this? Now, obviously, again, common sense will say, of course. This is a horrible thing that just happened. It shouldn't even be an option. They shouldn't even have to ask the question, should something be done about this? Of course something should be done about this. You just had a man almost get raped, and his wife actually got raped to death. There shouldn't be no question that somebody need to be punished. Somebody should pay for what just happened. But because God is not on the throne, number 32 is this. You'll be afraid to speak out against something that you know is wrong. That's what happened when God is not on the throne and sin is, and when you see people blatantly doing stuff that's wrong, you'll be scared to speak on it. Again, I told you earlier, I don't know what's going to happen when we speak on the homosexuals day. You know, somebody might actually finally report me and this video get taken down. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people have to miss this good wisdom that I shared here tonight. But you're afraid. You have to, like, you almost, especially when you're on a world that what can end up being a worldwide platform. Like, I only get a few subs, but I mean, there's a possibility that millions of people can watch this video. You know what I'm saying? If something just happened and somehow the wildfire, gets out or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It spread, it goes viral or whatever. Anything can happen, and this video can go around where everybody can see it. So you have to be careful with what you say. You have to kind of tiptoe, and I'm not about that. You know what I'm saying? If it comes up in a lesson, if it's something we're talking about, I'm going to bring it up. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people do. If you go to, that's why when you go to a lot of churches, these big mega churches, they don't talk about sin. You know what I'm saying? They tiptoe around the things that they teach. I'm sorry, y'all, my nose. My body trying to tell me it's time's up. Give me 1 second. I'm going off. All right, I'm back. But again, that's why you see a lot of these mega churches, you know what I'm saying? You see a lot of these preachers, they don't really preach on sin no more. They don't even really bring the truth of the Bible no more. They just say what make people feel good. They say the things that people want to hear because they're scared. They're afraid of speaking out against wrong because maybe they don't want to lose their congregation, or maybe they don't want to lose their tithes, or maybe they don't want to, or whatever. But whatever it is, they're afraid to tell the truth. They're afraid to tell the truth because the truth hurts, and the truth will get you set down. You know what I'm saying? Because this world has rejected the truth and they accepted the lie. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a sermon. I think I'm going to do my next sermon I'm going to do at the church. It's called, I haven't really worded it how I want it, but it's basically, why do we love the truth love the lie and hate the truth. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be my whole sermon. And I'm talking about showing examples through the Bible how we love to hear the lies, but we hate to hear the truth. You know what I'm saying? That's how this world is, because we live in doctrine, because God is no longer on the throne. And since God is on the throne, we don't want to hear anything that's going to make us think about God. We don't want to hear anything that's going to bring us under conviction about the things we're doing and the way we're living, because we like living in darkness and we like doing those things. You know what I'm saying? So number 32, when God is not on the throne, when God is not king, you'll be afraid to speak out against something that you know is wrong. And why? It's because the truth, because what I said earlier, when you're doing right, lost my point. Yeah, because when you're doing right, you accept there you go. When you do right, right will be rejected, and those that do wrong will be accepted. When you're doing right, the right is going to be rejected, and the wrong will be accepted. That's why people is so hesitant about speaking out against these things. When Bruce Jenner got the Woman of the Year, I'm like, that is insane. And with that person that's over the World Health Organization, whatever it is, this like the second highest paid position in our government, got Woman of the Year that's a transgender man. That's insane. But you better not speak out about it. You better not get on there and post on about it, because your page is gonna get shut down. Even Facebook, if you put anything remotely true, they're fact check. This is wrong. You know what I'm saying? And shut your stuff down. Delete your post. You know what I'm saying? It's on the surf truth. You can only get out of truth if your truth agrees with what they say it is. You know what I'm saying? What they say the truth is. If your truth, which is the real truth, especially coming from the Word of God, disagrees with what they say is truth, it's just not gonna get out there. You see what I'm saying? And so it makes you afraid to stand up for things that you know is wrong. It makes you afraid to talk about transgenderism, and you know what I'm saying, homosexuality. And I'm saying, and the thing is, like I told you earlier, sin when God is not king, sin is. And the more power you give sin, the more power it's gonna want. And I'm telling y'all, it's not gonna be long before child molestation is gonna be legal. It's going to be legal for grown men to have sex with young girls, or grown women to have sex with young boys. It's going to be legal soon. You know what I'm saying? It's already going that way, because their sin is going to keep on building. It's going to keep on getting to the point, then the doctor is going to keep on coming out, and we're going to get to the point where we just live by our own standards. We're not going to take God into account. We're not going to care what God wants. We're not going to care what God thinks. We're just going to give in and indulge in all the things we want to do. Because that was the kind of thing that happened when God is not king, when God is not on the throne in our lives. So I went way over, y'all, and I apologize, but I do hope y'all hung in there to the end, because that is insane. They first tried to rape this man, and then they ended up raping his wife to death, and then he kind of retaliates by taking his wife and cutting her up and sending her body parts all over the country. That is insane. You know what I'm saying? And again, you're like, how can something like that happen? This sounds so, it's unbelievable. How can something like that happen? How can they even think it's okay? And I'm going to end with this. In chapter 19, verse 1. Now in those days, Israel had no king. I'm going to pray so I can get out of here. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us. Thank you so much for this wonderful lesson. Thank you for letting your spirit work on my heart. I do apologize. Did try to at least keep it within a presentable time, but it was just so much here, Lord. And I pray that the people will still be willing to put forth the effort to watch the video, so they can get the wisdom that was shared here today, Lord, and help them see these are the kind of things that have happened. This sounds so far-fetched that I can't believe something like this will happen. What will make them even think it's okay? They think it's okay because there is no king in Israel at this time. When there's no God, Lord, we have no standards. We do whatever it is that we want to do. And this is a group of people. This is a snapshot of what the world will be like if we just completely rejected you. The only reason why it's not like this already is because there's still a few faithful ones out there that still honor and praise your name and glorify your holy name. But again, they're few and far in between, Lord. So we pray you just watch over us, help us have their revival, and help us see how important it is to get back to your principles before it's get too late. And we have a world full of incidents like this that happens every day, where it's just one for all. Everybody's for themselves. Nobody cares about each other. There's definitely no faithfulness or love in the hearts of anybody, not even your own family members, Lord. So just help us see how far away from you we've gotten from you, and help us get back to you before it's too late. Thank you for this lesson. Thank you for your letting your spirit work through me. And I pray that this lesson will touch the heart of somebody that may recognize that they haven't made you king in their lives, and get them to want to bring them under conviction, so they may make that decision that bring you back, put you back on the throne in their lives, so they don't end up in a situation like this. We thank you so much for all you've done and given, and say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. So I'm such a rush trying to get out announcement real quick. As always, God willing, be back next Monday at 7 o'clock. We'll go through part 4. We're gonna see what happened. These events. This is some crazy stuff. We're gonna see what happened because of this event. They raped this man's wife, and what's gonna happen. And again, it's gonna keep just getting crazier and crazier each chapter. And we got 2 more chapters. So God willing, next Monday at 7 o'clock, I'll be back doing the next part of that. But if anything else y'all want me to cover, please reach out to me. Share the videos. Tell people about the video. Like I said, I do got a small following, but it might be what keeps me going because people haven't flagged me just yet, but it ain't no telling when that day gonna come. But keep sharing the videos, telling people about it. If you're not sure about salvation, reach out to me and let me know. I'll schedule some time to go to the gospel with you because it's the most important decision you ever made. Reach out to me if you need any kind of spiritual counseling. Let me know and I'll schedule some time to talk to you and I'll share whatever wisdom the Lord has given me with you. And as always, if you want to catch my sermon, go to my YouTube page, put in God's Servant / Lost Sheep Ministry, and it'll take you straight to my YouTube channel. Subscribe. And you can watch all my videos. And I want y'all to know it is updated. I had a day off. We had Good Friday off. So I finally got all my videos uploaded. So every video is on there except for the one I just did. And I try to get that on there sometime tonight. So again, sorry for going over. I hope it was worth it. I hope y'all agree that, hey, I'm glad you did go over because I'm hoping somebody's being helped by this. And please let me know. If not, like, man, you talk too much, cut it down. I'm still probably not, but still, I'd like to know that people are being helped by this. And that's why I do these, because I think these are things that need to be heard. So again, thank y'all, my Lost Sheep people. Hopefully I'll see y'all tomorrow night. I'll be through to pick y'all up tomorrow night and we can have another good lesson and learn about the Lord. But until then, thank you all for joining me tonight. I hope this helped you. And remember to always watch your back and pray. Until next time, peace.